Welcome to episode 24 of Two and a Half Dudes, something like that. Two Dudes in a Movie. I was working on new logos today, by the way. Yeah,
nice.
I was in a meeting at work, and I got kind of bored and just started drawing new logos. Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing well. It is currently 6 degrees outside, and it's still October. So
Chile.
It went from summer to friggin' winter.
Yeah.
Yep. And I still got to play football.
Dude, we had practice today, and literally it was pouring rain. It was like so cold. It was like basically sleet.
Yeah.
And we're all standing there just like, no.
Freezing your Royal
We're not having a good
Rastafarian
time.
So bad. Well, so Friday night we played. It was the same weather. Monday night we played, same weather. And then today we had practice. So it was like 3 days out of 5 being outside for like multiple hours, just getting
Maybe you guys should have
rained on.
a bye week or something.
Oh, dude.
Just everybody calling sick that day.
Just snow. Like, if it's going to rain and be 35 degrees, just
snow.
Snow. Like,
Dang.
come on, man. But no, it's Oklahoma, so
That
can't
is
complain.
true.
That's true.
And I got engaged, so
Yeah, bro.
exciting.
Woo.
Woo!
Shout out to Danielle, my fiance.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta use the fancy French word.
That's right, fiance. It's weird. People have been saying this. They're like, "Oh, so you're fiance?" I was like, "Ooh, what is that?"
Yeah.
Just wait till you're married and everybody's going to be like, all right, when you guys going to have kids?
No
Oh my
doubt.
gosh, yeah.
No
Because
doubt.
the question was, when are you gonna pop the question? When are you gonna pop the question? And now it's
When's the wedding?
when's the wedding? And then now it's gonna be when are you gonna have kids? Which at the most recent wedding, I said people started chanting breeding season, and I was like,
Whoa.
no thanks.
Nine. Nine.
But enough about us. Let's talk about movies.
Woo.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
All right, what have we been watching, y'all?
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that section.
I know, that's why I jumped in there.
I was on to the top 5s.
Bro, I watched a good movie. I watched a really good movie, actually. I watched
No, you didn't.
I watched Seven with
Oh,
Morgan Freeman and
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
What's
yeah.
in the box?
What's in the box? Yeah, it was fun. I liked that movie a lot. I'd never seen it before. Really, really cool storyline with the serial killer, the 7 sins and the 7 days, and
Yeah.
like Morgan Freeman retiring, Brad Pitt kind of the new rookie guy or whatever. And I thought that was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it a lot. Have you guys seen it before?
I actually have not.
I've seen. Weirdly enough, I've only seen the ending.
Okay.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's in the box?
Yeah. So Brad Pitt's kind of like, I guess, famous / infamous. I don't know, for that like scene.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I thought he did a great job. He actually turned down. I looked this up. He actually turned down a role in Apollo 13 to be the co-star in that movie,
Oh wow.
which I thought was pretty cool because Apollo 13 is obviously like a great movie.
I
But
love
yeah.
me some Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt killed it. He did a great job. And then Gwyneth Paltrow is actually his wife in that movie. So all-star cast. And then
Nice.
Spacey is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. No.
Yeah. Well, it's the serial killer. We don't know who it is till the end, but it's like he's the guy who played it. I mean, whatever.
Talk about
I know. It's,
rapey
dude,
Spacey.
it's
Came out
from
in
like
1995.
Yeah, it's bad on us for not having seen it.
I
It's a
know.
great
at
movie.
this
If
point.
you haven't seen it, it's a great cop movie. If we ever make like a new cop list or whatever, it'd probably be up there for me.
Wow, nice.
It's
Cool.
Super
That's
solid
cool. That's
movie.
cool to hear.
All 7 murders are like super like out there and really interesting and like really well planned and like creepy.
Because it's based on like the 7 deadly sins,
7
right?
deadly sins. So he murders someone who, in his opinion, has like blatantly committed that sin. It's like the first sin is like this like super obese guy.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
like 400 or
gluttony.
500 pounds, and he like I'm not gonna tell you how he kills him, but anyway, so like that's the first guy. The next guy is like a really wealthy banker or politician or something, and he's like greedy or whatever. And so like every sin is like mentioned and Morgan Freeman's character is like really really smart and really well studied, so he kind of knows everything that's going on, and
How long is it?
it's good.
How long was the movie?
2 hours,
Okay.
205,
That's
something like that. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Cool.
And it goes by really quickly because it's kind of a mystery. So.
Yeah.
Great movie. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it.
For free?
For
Or
free.
did you?
Yeah,
Okay,
for
nice.
free.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Good movie.
I think
and then,
that's on my list.
Callie and I started Blacklist TV show
Oh yeah.
on
From the beginning?
Netflix. Yeah, from the beginning.
Oh, man.
Never watched it before. Jumping in. So I liked it so far. It's pretty good.
It starts good.
Is it not any
So,
good?
well, if you talk to Papa and Mimi, they really like it still. But
Oh, okay.
I after a few seasons,
Just kinda got bored.
I was like, man, this could have ended really well at like season 3 or 4.
It was pretty
Same- is it
popular.
the-
I remember when it first started.
Is it the
People
same
were
thing
into
over
it.
and over and over and over and over?
Sort of.
Yeah, I kind of got that vibe already. We're like at five episodes in.
The first 2 or 3 seasons are enjoyable.
I just like him a lot.
Oh yeah,
He's
he
great.
does
Is
a
it
really.
Vincent D'Onofrio?
He's great.
No, it's
Who is it?
It's Robert California.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
I was gonna say Ultron.
What's his real name?
Dang it.
It's
Um,
Spader, right? Is that his name?
James Spader.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's Ultron. I forgot about Ultron. Yeah.
That's right.
I always think of him as Robert California.
Robert California. Yeah.
That's probably not a good thing to think about.
No, that's the only
low-
name I
Hey,
see.
man.
Low point in his career,
Yeah.
or a high point, depending on how you look
Depending
at
on
it.
how you look at it.
Yeah, so we're watching the Blacklist. I don't know how long we'll get into it. Callie kind of gives up on shows pretty quickly.
Yeah.
What's the vibe you're getting from her?
She likes it so far,
Okay.
but like I said, like if it's really repetitive, we'll probably both like kind of and just
Dip.
and move on. So, but I like it so far. I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you're gonna stretch it out for like 6 seasons or whatever it's going on right now.
Well,
But
it gets into like backstory stuff
Okay.
that makes it
Cool.
drag.
You should just watch
okay.
Scrubs instead.
yeah, Scrubs is actually on our list. We narrowed it down. So basically, what we do is we just go from sitcom to drama, sitcom to drama.
Oh yeah.
So we're
Nice.
on a drama right now, but sitcom's
Okay.
next. So Scrubs is on there for sure.
Nice.
That's it for me.
Cool. All right.
Blacklist and Seven, and obviously the movie we watched. But,
I watched a couple movies. I stayed on the spooky train.
Nice.
We watched The Strangers
Oh yeah.
last week. Have you guys seen it? I
Never heard of it.
figured
Heard of it, but
I've never heard of
Yep.
it.
This came out in 2008. So basically what it is this you're like, man, this is a little more intense than I thought. But what was these couple come back from a wedding or whatever, some kind of event. They're both really dressed up and they come back to like the cabin where they're supposed to go, and the guy had this whole place set up, flowers, like something they were supposed to get engaged, and she said no, and so they come back and he's just like very put out and sad and everything, and then she's like, it was very awkward. I was like, wow, this is actually kind of like, this isn't bad so far. And then all of a sudden, just like they hear a knock on the door, and he opens it, and this girl says, is James home? He goes, no, who? And then she just kind of stands there, and he like shuts the door, and just weird stuff starts happening. Like they look through the windows, and then it's like three people, and they all wear masks. Like his is like a burlap sack with like a like smiley face painted on it. The other two are wearing
Yikes.
like the
Creepy.
silicone like doll mask kind of things. And so just weird things start happening around the
Just
house.
Not into that at all.
And it's a movie where you're like, they're not like, damsels in distress stuff. Like they're like, all right, we need to go find my dad's shotgun, and they found the shotgun shells and stuff, and like they're actively trying to help themselves,
okay.
which is I appreciated. And so the movie, the first probably 30-45 minutes of it was like, I was like, dang, this is creepy. Like I'm creeped out. And then it ends on a weird note.
Okay.
Not a weird note, just bad guys win, and it's like, oh, okay. Or anticlimactic, I guess, is what you want to say.
Gotcha.
So it was very, very tense and stuff, and then just kind of fell flat with the last thing. And then I also watched kind of a staple for a lot of people. I watched The Shining for the
Dude,
first time.
Shining.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen
You've
it.
not seen it?
I
You've
mean,
seen
I
it?
know the
yeah.
what you call it.
So this movie was just interesting
Is that
from
the
the
Here's
get-go.
Johnny?
So what?
Is that the Here's Johnny?
Yes.
Yeah, here's
It's like
Johnny.
through the door.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
That movie was cool.
It's a good movie.
Is it
That was
legit
good.
scary?
No, it's not scary.
It's just tense.
It's tense.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
I can deal with that.
Stephen King is like he can get super scary like with like It and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though like depending on your type, those movies aren't scary,
Right,
quote
not
unquote.
like horror films.
Yeah, it's not like a slasher, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's very tense. I don't know how else to.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I'd agree. It's more of a cool. It's
never-
a cool story.
Okay.
Dude,
because
he's an amazing writer.
It's-
I've never watched Stephen King movies, but I've read several of his books.
Yeah.
And I like the ones I've read. So
Well, it's Jack Nicholson's. The kind of a premise for it is he's a writer, and he's going up to this like lodge up in the mountains of Colorado to go up there and be a caretaker for this place during the summer, because everyone else leaves, all the staff and stuff, but they need a caretaker to kind of keep the place up and running, make sure it all doesn't like crumble and stuff. And so he's there to kind of keep the boilers in check. And so he brings his family with him, but he's also there to write because he's a writer. And the whole time, like the thing is, something they say at the beginning is like, over a period of time, like 2 caretakers ago, or last caretaker wave, like he ended up going crazy and killing his whole family.
Yeah.
And so you see like a lot of parallels between that stuff, and it was a cool movie. I was like from the start, like just Jack Nicholson's acting in it is really good, and so like from the get go, you're like, man, I like this character, or like I like the way he's portraying him, and it's a very interesting movie. So I mean, I highly recommend watching it.
Sequel getting ready to come out.
That's right, Doctor Sleep, right?
Doctor Sleep, yeah, is
with Ewan McGregor.
Yep. And a buddy of mine is
That
a
looks
huge.
creepy.
That does look pretty creepy.
That looks really creepy.
It looks a lot more creepy than
I saw
Shining.
the trailer for that.
compared
I was
to The
like,
Shining.
no, thank you.
Dude, a buddy of mine is a huge Stephen King fan, and I remember 2 or 3 years ago, because that Doctor Sleep, I think, is like one of Stephen King's most recently written books.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy got it for a Christmas gift or whatever. He's like, "This book is amazing."
Yeah.
And then, like, it was just funny that like a couple months ago, I was like, "Oh, they're doing a movie about it."
Right.
So
Dude, everything he writes is a movie. It's insane.
Pretty
Like,
much,
literally,
yeah.
he's might as well just write the screenplay, like as
Right.
he's writing the novel.
Mm-hmm. But no, I highly recommend. Like, you should watch it. It's not
No,
scary.
it sounds-
It's just like Paul said, it's
Sounds
tense.
good. It
Yeah.
sounds really good.
But yeah,
I like movies like that.
highly recommend it. No, that's all I watched. Paul, you got anything?
actually, no,
What?
we
Nice.
have not. I've been so busy with work stuff.
Nice.
We've just been watching right now. Jan and I are watching Frasier, and we're
Love
just
Frasier.
It's all right.
that's what we've done. So
Great show.
other than the movie we were talking about tonight, I haven't watched anything.
Okay.
Frasier's a great show.
And I literally did, like, last night after dinner, I was like, hey, the podcast is tomorrow night, and I haven't watched the movie, so if you want to watch it, cool. But then when I told her what it was, she was like, I'm going to go to the bedroom and watch Golden Girls or something.
It's a
Nice.
fairly short movie from what
Yeah, it was
like,
only 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's
I was
fairly
like,
short, which
I loved it.
I
Loved it.
appreciate.
No.
Let's get into our top 5 this week. I'm just going to
Yeah.
continue talking here.
Do
We're
it.
doing our top 5 favorite war movies, which has nothing to do with A Quiet Place. So,
No.
which
Yeah.
is totally fine.
Yeah.
So who you guys? Let's get started with honorable mentions. I'm gonna continue talking.
Yeah, keep
I'm
going,
just
Luke.
gonna-
Love it.
Get it.
My honorable mentions were Hacksaw Ridge, and I felt weird putting on this. I didn't want to put it in my top 5, but I felt it was mentioned. Inglourious Bastards is
Yeah.
in my honorable mentions. So
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
My honorable mentions are Glory. It's a Civil War movie about an all-black regiment in the North, and Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman are like the two main
holy crap, really?
characters, and
Yeah.
it is awesome.
Wow.
It was one of Denzel's first movies, I think.
Young Denzel.
I was about to say, like,
late
that is 2
80s.
all-star guys. Like,
late
Yeah.
80s, early 90s. It's a great movie. It's a
And-
great movie. It's really long. It's like 2.5 hours long, but it's a great movie.
And the captain is played by Matthew Broderick, which is really odd.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie.
Great movie.
Okay.
I agree. It's a good movie.
It's my favorite Civil War movie out there. Probably besides, there's one movie called Gods and Generals that I
That's a
like a
great
little bit
movie.
better. But Enemy at the Gates is my other one of my other
that is
honorable
a
mentions.
good one.
It's a good one.
Love this movie. It's Jude Law as a Russian sniper during the Battle of Stalingrad during World War II, with the Nazis like trying to take over. They're trying to invade Russia, and he becomes like a local like Soviet legend
Yep.
during this battle. And it's all based on a true character who was actually a legend in the Soviet army for killing so many Nazis in this one battle. Great movie. My 2 other honorable mentions are Lone Survivor and American Sniper. I like both of these movies a lot. They're not my top 5, obviously, but they are really close. I
Yeah.
went back and forth on where these ones go.
Yeah, dude.
Great movies, both of them. Lone Survivor's not quite as good as American Sniper, in my opinion. I liked American Sniper a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think probably more because of I don't know. I liked Bradley Cooper a little bit better than I liked Mark Wahlberg in that movie, but
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
I did like Lone Survivor a lot. A lot of people didn't like that movie, but I liked it a lot.
Yeah, that was
Like,
pretty
it was
hit or
kinda,
miss for
Yeah,
some.
it was kind of in the middle, but I like both of those movies, so those are my 4 honorable mentions.
My honorable mentions are also Hacksaw Ridge,
Mm.
which I love that movie. I know we've talked about it a little bit, and then Fury that you guys did an episode on.
Like Fury a lot.
That was a great one.
Fury's one of the ones I knocked off I had like 12 movies that I wrote down originally, and that's one of the ones I knocked off
Yeah.
for my honorable mention.
All the way.
Great movie.
I just love it because it's like, and I know we mentioned it, but like you never see movies from like a tank
No doubt.
crew perspective.
Like a very focused.
Yeah.
Like, something you never. Yeah, like you said, like Warhorse, kind of like that movie. Did you guys see the movie? Like,
I actually didn't,
Yeah.
but
yeah, like Warhorse.
Just a little bit different spin of the same type of movie.
Yeah.
all right, Luke, number
Right.
5.
Number 5 is Black Hawk Down.
Good
Oh,
movie. I like
okay.
that one a lot.
Yes. So I think that one just like I have a thing for modern kind of war movies,
Yeah.
and so this one kind of tickled my fancy in all the ways. You know, they're pinned down in the city and whatnot. Black Hawk Down, of course. And then the cast is great. It's got like Ewan McGregor.
Ewan.
I was about to say I've heard it.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm just Obi-Wan Kenobi's in it.
Yeah.
That's his real name.
And who's the main character in it? Isn't it?
Stink.
I want to say Adrian Brody, but that's not right. Let me look it up real quick. I'm gonna beat you guys. Black Hawk Down. The movie came out in 2001.
I know. It feels like it wasn't that long.
That's a
It's
good
like
Rotten
forever
Tomato
ago.
score too. Josh Hartnett, Ewan McGregor,
Yeah, Josh Hartnett is the person who I was thinking
Sam
of.
Shep, Orlando Bloom, Tom Hardy. Yeah,
Tom Hardy. Let's go.
yeah, good cast. So
Solid.
yeah,
Solid movie.
Number 5.
Number 5 for
Nice.
me is Dunkirk. I love this movie.
Figures.
A lot of people don't like this movie because it's not a war movie.
That's a
I thought it was a great interpretation of like a cinematic, beautiful war movie that was more about the story and less about like the violent like war.
AJ,
My brother-
who directs this movie?
Who directed this movie?
My
Yeah.
brother hated this movie.
Which one?
AJ,
Both of them hated it. We went and saw it together. I walked out. I was like, yes, that was beautiful. That was amazing storytelling. Christopher Nolan. Loved
He was
it.
trying to avoid that.
Loved the movie. And my Aiden and Austin, my brothers, are like they're all about like the just go kill people, fight people movies.
Guts
And they like
blown everywhere.
that was the lamest movie I've ever watched.
Well,
They
no,
hated it.
You went and saw it because it has the One Direction guy in it, right?
Yeah, Harry Styles.
Harry Styles.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
that was your main
Huh.
reason, right?
I liked Harry Styles, and he actually did a good
No,
job.
the
in this
one
movie.
reason was it was Chris Nolan
Uh,
and Michael
hey,
Caine and
Chris
all them other
Nolan,
people.
Chris Nolan does a World War II movie. I'm gonna go watch it. But seriously, I like that movie a lot. I thought Tom Hardy killed it in his role in the movie.
Yeah.
There's if you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna tell you a whole lot about it. But there's 3 different storylines that are all like seemingly unrelated, and at the end of the movie, they all come together. And it's a great story. It's all based on a true story about Dunkirk, where the British Army was trapped on this beach, and the Nazis were slowly moving in and surrounding them and going to destroy them. And the war was pretty much going to be over before it ever really started.
Right.
And then Churchill gets on the radio and sends all the British people in their like commoner, like just literally like fishing boats and whatever boats they got across the English Channel into France to pick up the British Army. And obviously like thousands and thousands of British people went and picked up the soldiers and ended up invading again a couple years later, and we ended up winning the war. So it's actually a really, really cool story that we don't really know much about. People didn't really know before the movie. I like it a lot. I think it's a really underrated war movie. I see why people don't like it because it's not a traditional war movie, right? There's not like a huge action sequence. But I did like it a lot. I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Cool. My number 5 is a movie called The Hurt Locker.
I like that movie.
That's my number 2.
Nice.
I like that movie
I
a lot.
love this movie.
Jeremy Renner? Is that right?
Jeremy Renner and Anthony Mackie.
Yep.
So Falcon and Hawkeye.
Let's go.
Before they were Falcon and
Before
Hawkeye.
This
they
movie was
knew
up
Marvel
for
would exist.
an Oscar,
It
right?
won Best Picture.
It won
Yeah.
Best Picture. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
It's a great
But
movie.
I love this. Just I'm kind of like you, Luke. I like more modern. I like a mix of both modern and OG war movies. But like this one about, again, I kind of like ones that are more focused. How he's like a bomb diffuser, and he's also like super cocky and things like that. And like at first I hated that, but then like I can't remember if it's either the first one or like the last one that he goes to, and he's like, just another day at the office and like smoking a cigarette, walking up to a bomb like he's gonna defuse it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, is that cocky or is that just like
Just a baller
He's good
cool
at his
at the same
job.
time?
Just a baller movie.
Just a baller movie.
The
But-
one where he diffuses the one in the car is my favorite.
no doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Great
that movie
scene.
is like super tense too. Like the whole time he's like diffusing bombs, I'm just like, oh my god, he's just gonna. Because the beginning of the movie is, it's Guy Pearce, and he's like diffusing one, and then like it goes off, and it's like it it kills him.
Yeah.
And like it shows it, and I was like, oh my gosh! So it really puts it into perspective of like
This can happen,
seriously
literally.
how dangerous
Yeah, no doubt.
this is. And then
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner's just like all just strolling up. Like
You kind of gotta be in a way, like
Oh, yeah,
for that kind of job. And he
That's
goes on
true.
multiple tours in the movie, right? It shows him going back
Yeah.
home and he comes back. Yeah.
yeah, because like at the very near the end he goes home for a while, and then like at the very end he's like I gotta go back. I
don't
can't
know.
deal with home.
I remember that movie so well, but I only saw it when it came out in theaters. Like, was it 2009?
Something like that.
I think it was 09.
Gosh, that's 10 years ago. Holy cow.
2008.
2008. Yeah, that was when I saw. That was the last time I seen it. And that I mean, I guess that shows how good that movie was. If it stuck.
Oh,
with
yeah.
I've seen it
so
once, and it was 10 years ago, and it's number
Memorable.
2 on your list.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Dude,
It's such a
That's a
memorable
great movie.
It's
Don't get me
very
wrong. That's a
memorable.
great
Yeah.
movie. I love
And
that
I love
movie.
the scene where like they're in the desert and like they're in like the top of the hut and they can't move because there's like an enemy sniper,
Yes.
and they're like they have to just sit there for like hours.
Don't they defuse a bomb with a robot at one point? Or
They try to.
They try to.
And then he has to go
He
in
goes
because
in
that's
there.
the car one.
Oh, that's the car one. Yeah.
Yeah, the car one was good. 'Cause
Great
he's not
scene.
wearing a suit for that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's like I'm burning up in this thing, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Great.
So,
That's
great
a good
movie.
Great movie. Number 4.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I think it's Lone Survivor. Let me check. Lone Survivor. Yeah.
Nice.
So back to the kind of back to the more modern ones. Also, I think that like as sad as that story is, I love the whole like fighting for survival kind of thing, like running through the forest. Like, man, the way some of those guys gets killed is just like heartbreaking.
Brutal.
So that's my number 2.
That's your number 2.
So
Okay.
dude, yeah, like,
Paul has a man crush on a certain actor.
Wahlberg.
Well,
I love Wahlberg too.
No,
I think
he's great.
he's awesome
He's really
in the
great.
movie, and then the other cast is great. I don't why did people not like this? Is it because it was so real, or because did they alter the story? Because it's a true story.
it's
Right.
a true story.
Did they
by
alter it any or
Marcus
something?
Luttrell, who it's based off of the book he wrote,
Right.
called Lone Survivor. I don't know how much of the story they altered, but like I just love this because like Marcus Luttrell still does a ton of like things like for events to help raise money for wounded warriors, and I can't remember what it is, but every year on a certain day they have a thing where they do the Murph challenge. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's like an insane workout
Yep.
that people do again to raise money for POWs and wounded warriors and things like that. And so just like stuff like that about it, that he still does these kinds of things, really impacts me and makes me enjoy the movie more. But as far as the story goes of the movie, I don't feel like that they changed a whole lot of it. I think maybe, I don't know. I can't say why people wouldn't like this movie because I'm not one of them.
I think it's too simple for some people. Because it's literally like the guys go in, their cover's kind of blown, and they kind of just get out. Like that's the gist of it.
Well,
Mark
they don't
Wahlberg
really
gets
get out.
Nobody gets out, but the lone survivor, right?
Yeah.
I like that movie. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I can't really speak for people who don't like it because I like it.
Yeah. So not sure.
It's one of those kind of unique war movies in the sense of it's not stereotypical. It's kind of like it goes against the grain a little bit.
Yeah, it's rather than like a big, well, there are big fight scenes, but rather than like being a big fight, it's like the super outnumbered thing if they're trying to run away.
300, yeah.
Oh, when they have to like kind of throw themselves off the cliffs
Yeah,
and
they
stuff.
just like jump off a cliff.
Crazy.
That scene is crazy. I like that movie because they make a really like noble, honorable decision
Yeah.
to like not kill the kid,
Kill the guy.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But that like bites him in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot because it kind of like sets the stage of like these are like good dudes.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. But my number 4 is Hacksaw Ridge.
Nice.
I like this movie a lot. I think I saw it in the theater twice. It's a great war movie. Everything you ever want in a war movie. Action, kind of some comedy mixed in there with what's his face? Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. His training
He
sergeant.
is hilarious. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
It's on your list. Whenever he like first walks into the dorm room and that dude's like butt naked.
Yeah.
It's like, you like walking around naked, you can do all your exercise naked. And he walks him outside and he has to do all his exercises naked.
Yeah.
That dude's got a knife in his foot like literally this like ridiculous situation he walks into. But I love the storyline of the guy who doesn't want to fight and use a gun, but he's actually still like a hero, and he's still really heroic because in our like minds, at least, we assume that you can't be a hero unless you're like killing people.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool that we like highlighted.
Do you remember a roundabout
like
of
that.
how many people he saved?
It's like 100.
75 to 125, somewhere in there. I think there's a lot.
I don't think there's an accurate number.
Okay.
It seems like at the end, the dude's talking about, and he's like, I feel like I pulled 100 guys off of there.
There's like a whole like medical tent at the bottom of like people
Full-
he like literally just like got off the mountain.
Well, even like the enemy soldiers and stuff that he
Yeah.
lifted down. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I thought that was a great movie. Really cool, interesting, unique war movie.
Yeah.
Mel
Again,
Gibson
it's-
actually directed it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He directed, again, really focused on the medical guy who really, they're in war movies, but they're not a focus.
I liked the romance part of it too. I thought that was a cool touch. A lot of movies try to do that. They kind of make that either too big of a deal or like they don't make it a big enough deal.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like pointless.
Yeah.
Or like way too much. And at that point, it's like a rom-com or something. But I thought they did a great job of balancing his like normal person life, his like obviously like what he did during the battle and everything. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a great movie.
Well, there was a scene where he was like in the tunnels and he encounters the Japanese guy and he lets him go, right?
Yeah.
Like the Japanese guy lets him go.
Yeah.
It was just
I also
Doesn't
love
he
the-
end up saving that guy? Isn't he one
I
of the
think
ones he
so.
saved?
I think so. And then he ends up saving Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And like
Which was
pulling him through the
legit.
battlefield and he's like
Just
shooting behind him.
Yeah.
That was great. I love that scene. That's a fun movie. I liked it a lot.
That's a good one.
Some of the violence and gore in that movie is like crazy.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson likes
Dude,
doing
he
that.
has like people's like limbs and stuff falling off.
Blowing
Oh.
everywhere.
Yeah, be true to it.
Crazy.
That's very true.
But it's a great movie. Number 4.
All right. My number 4 is Patton.
I like that movie a lot.
Long.
It's like 3 hours.
Very long movie. But like, I just love, a lot of it was the dude who played him did it for me.
So good.
And I'm going to remember this dude's name in one second. It's
That's one of the-
George something.
It's one of the best openings to a
George
movie.
Costanza.
George Costanza.
Yes.
Um,
That first
George C.
speech,
Scott. Yeah.
That first speech he gives, man. That's one of the best opens to a movie. So good.
But again, I like that it's sort of focused on one thing of him as a character of focused on him. And I love tanks because of this movie. It just was an odd fascination for me about like my dad likes planes, so I like tanks. But this movie kind of did it for me, just to be about the tank battles, but then again be about this great general that you really don't hear much about other than he was cocky and again had a 6-shooter and rode a horse and
Crazy person.
kind of crazy acting. Yeah.
I love the scenes when he's in the desert and just like losing his mind.
Yeah.
And that airplane drives by and
he's like shooting at it.
shooting with his pistol.
And all
So-
the other people are just standing there like just staring
so
at him like,
funny.
what the?
It's so funny.
And then all the topics he has like about reincarnation and everything like that. It's like, dude, this guy was kind of insane, but
Well, there's one
still
point
super
his
smart.
His Bible's like on his desk, and the guy walks in and is like, General Patton, you read your Bible? He's like, every whatever, and he like cusses.
Yeah.
Like every
Every damn day.
Whatever day. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, like, oh, all right, well. Yeah.
It's so good. He's a funny,
But-
he's a funny dude, man. But yeah, it's
one of our
it's a great
greatest
movie.
military minds.
Yeah, for sure. Great movie.
And I love how he's always bashing on Montgomery.
Always hating on that British dude, and he's always like really competitive because he wants to be known as like because he's really like arrogant and wants to
Yeah.
be known as like the guy who conquered like Europe or whatever.
Yeah.
Great movie. I'm glad you put that on there.
It's a good one. Luke,
My
numero tres.
My number tres is The Patriot. It's the one
Nice.
we discussed before.
Also,
Is
my
your
number three.
Number
Number
three?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it together.
I like Patriot.
Yeah, this one felt weird. I don't know why. Maybe because it's focused on like a single person, or maybe probably because it's just a Revolutionary War
the
movie.
Revolutionary War, maybe. Yeah.
Because you don't think about the Revolutionary War when I think of war movies, I think of like World War II movies,
Yeah.
and like movies now. It's like it's weird, not weird, but it's a
There's not a whole lot of Revolutionary War movies.
yeah.
And a lot of them don't seem to be like there's not a ton about like George Washington or
Right.
whatever. Like all the ones that are popularized, like Last of the Mohicans or this movie, aren't necessarily about a true person. Like his character is not, was not a true person, but it's based on the events of the Revolutionary War. So I can see where it's iffy, but just because it is set in the Revolutionary War,
technically
like
a war
Cornwallis
movie.
is a big character.
Yeah.
So that's why I threw it
I like
into
the
this
Patriot
list.
a
But
No.
I love the Mel Gibson movie. Sorry, I'm kind of
No. I
here.
said, hey, let's talk about it together. That's what we're doing. No, it's a solid movie. I mean, like, I love I think my favorite part of the movie is the tactics that he uses, because that's one thing that's freaking frustrating to me is in those movies, like about those wars.
Stand in front of each other.
Stand in front of a line and like hope you hit the guy. I was like, golly, that just like sounds like you're asking to die.
Yep.
So my favorite thing is the tactics he uses and stuff, because I think that's something. It's just like that's what I would think to do. You know?
Right.
I love the scene when they go to he goes to Cornwallis and he meets him. And he has like the dummies, like as Scarecrow's like out in the field. He's like, "Go look over there." There's like
so
I've got
good.
10 of your captains
9 lieutenants and whatever else. And he's like, "Fine, give him whatever
trying
he
to
wants."
trade his prisoners.
Give him whatever he wants, and he
So
runs
good.
out of there and he calls for the dogs, and the dogs follow him.
Yeah.
And then they roll out there and they pull the guys back, and he's like, "Here's your men, sir." And it's like a Scarecrow.
It's like
And he's like, what the heck,
Man.
Yeah, great movie. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
For me, so I lumped like that movie. Braveheart, Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, Last of the Mohicans. I just kind of lumped all those movies together and like chose not to include them in my list
Yeah.
because for me, like that might have been my top 5. Honestly, those 5 movies I just listed.
Right.
I thought that'd be a little too easy for me because I obviously love Braveheart, love Gladiator, love Patriot. So I tried to kind of do more like what you said, like World War II, Vietnam, modern day kind of stuff. But I love the Patriot, dude. That's a great movie.
So number 3.
Number 3 for me is a movie called Letters from Iwo Jima. Talked about this last week, maybe 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks, 3?
I don't remember. But there's 2 movies all about the Battle of Iwo Jima. One's called Flags of Our Fathers. The other one's called Letters from Iwo Jima. It's the exact same battle. One's from the American perspective, and Letters from Iwo Jima is from the Japanese perspective.
Yep.
And the whole movie, I think like 95% of the movie's in Japanese, so you have to read it, like subtitles the whole time, which some people don't like that. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And basically, it doesn't like glorify the Japanese, like in the sense of like they're the good guys, but it gives you kind of insight into that they were soldiers too, who were simply doing their orders,
Right.
and like dying for their country and dying for their homeland and dying for their family, basically.
Yeah.
And it's kind of all from this perspective of like this leader guy, and I forget the actor's name, but he's super famous.
Ken Watanabe.
Watanabe, yeah, he's super great.
Who's in like all of Chris Nolan's movies. How do you not know his name?
Come on, AJ.
I knew his name. I didn't want to like say it wrong.
You're the captain of the club.
I like that movie a lot. If you haven't seen it,
it's a good one.
It's a great war movie, but it's also like a super great like just pure drama movie because it's like it's heartbreaking. Like it is a heartbreaking movie to watch.
Well,
and it's a great movie.
One of the reasons I remember that because Clint Eastwood directed both of these.
Clint Eastwood's so good.
One of the reasons that he wanted to do that was because it seems like not too long before he had the idea, they found all those letters that all the Japanese soldiers wrote.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like tucked into walls and under the big guns and things like that, because obviously none of them went home.
Right.
So all their letters are just all over the island, and they found a crap ton of them and some like made the story.
For people who don't know, during World War II, the Japanese soldiers weren't allowed to surrender, and they weren't allowed to retreat. So literally, they either had to stay and fight and die, or like commit suicide.
Yep.
And die honorably. And so literally, there's like hundreds. I think it's actually 120,000. Maybe it's 100,000 or something like that. Japanese soldiers on Iwo Jima, and literally 100% of them die.
Yep.
And so that movie's all about them like slowly losing ground on the island, and eventually all of them die. And it is, like I said, heartbreak. Either the bad guys, but it is heartbreaking. So great movie. Love that movie. It is a tearjerker, so beware. Number 3 for you is Patriot. Number 2, Luke. You already said your number 2.
Hurt Locker.
Hurt
Yeah,
Locker.
so
Yeah,
who are we?
Hurt Locker.
AJ then.
Yeah, I can say because the my number
Oh, your number 2 is
2 was Lone Survivor.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. My number 2 is We Were Soldiers.
I thought
and
it
I'm
was
gonna
gonna be
make
one for sure.
I'm gonna make a
Oh, we may have all said the same thing for one.
prediction. Is we all have the same number one. We'll get there in a second. Number 2 for me is We Were Soldiers. It's a Mel Gibson movie. Not sure if he directed it, but he for sure starred in it. And it's about Vietnam. It's my favorite Vietnam movie. What's his name's in it too?
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott. I always forget his name. He's like the big bad like Dodge Ram commercial
Yeah.
guy.
Well, no, he's famous from the movie The Man That Assassinated
Yeah,
Hitler and then or killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot.
And then the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Or the Big Lebowski.
He's famous for a lot of things, but
He's a
great actor. He's in that movie too. But Gary Bertier from
Bertier.
Remember the Titans is in that movie too.
Yep.
Great movie. It's about Vietnam. There's a reporter and a photographer who go to the battle to do some press for the American press, and they actually get like stuck in the battle, and it's a terrible battle, really violent, horrible battle, and it's kind of all about that one scene with Mel Gibson's like men.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie. But okay, number one,
Well,
2,
yeah.
3.
Oh, his
Saving Private Ryan.
Yes,
okay.
Great movie. We all agree.
yeah.
Honestly, I looked at like a lot of different lists online, and I was shocked that this
To
wasn't
not
number
see
one
this.
for like everybody. 'Cause
Yeah.
To me, this is like far and away, like not even close,
Easily.
the best war movie.
Tom Hanks, man. Like, how are you going to do that to him? Give him
dude.
the number 2 spot?
I don't know.
Man,
I saw a list; they weren't even in the top 10. It was might have been IMDb. Honestly, they weren't in the top 10. I was shocked. I was literally
Wow.
like, "How do you make a top 10 war movie list and not put this on there?"
The opening scene, man. Like,
Dude,
D-Day,
no
like, come
doubt.
on.
that
Holy
made it to number
crap.
one just because of
So
the first,
good.
30 minutes of the movie.
Yep.
So good.
When Vin Diesel absolutely kills it.
Yeah. And then he gets
Yeah.
killed
Then he
Yes.
dies.
for
That's
some
such a
dumb
good
reason,
movie.
like saving a child.
Yeah. No,
Such a great movie.
the end is awesome. Like, my favorite
that
character in the
bridge-
movie
the bridge
was
scene.
the sniper.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
He was good, man.
He's in We Were Soldiers.
Was he?
he
yeah.
he is in with
He's
that
the
movie.
he's the reporter.
Oh, cool.
I think that's right.
Pretty sure he's the reporter in We Were Soldiers. So he's the one who's like telling the We Were Soldiers story the whole movie,
Yeah.
and then he's obviously the sniper in.
Yeah, he's
Saving Private
good.
Ryan. That's a great movie. I'm glad we all agree. I saw
yeah.
that kind of coming.
All
a
to
while
save,
back,
what, Matt
but,
Damon?
Friggin' Matt
Matt
Damon.
Damon.
Yeah.
He's Private
Private
Ryan.
Great movie.
Obviously.
Yeah. For some reason, I was like, wait.
But like I just love the like yes, of course the D-Day scene is killer and awesome, but like I don't think that the whole story of the 4 brothers that were like 2 died in Omaha Beach and 1 died and then
He was
so
like
they,
the last one.
but the story that the general tells about Lincoln and how he wrote a letter to a lady, like that was true. Like there really was. I remember researching that one night after watching that movie. I was like, I wonder if that was and that was totally true.
Yeah.
So I just love that they kind of took that same idea and went this way. Good old Stevie Spielberg.
Man, Spielberg's so good. I don't know if he's underrated. That's probably not the right word, but this movie in particular, he's just a genius.
Peak.
I think he's at his best whenever he's making these kinds of movies that are historical. Because he made Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincoln was great.
I love them.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is awesome. But that's a great movie. I'm glad we all agree.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall
All right,
we?
we want to get into this thing
Yeah, let's do it.
A quiet place.
that has nothing to do with war.
It's a war
Well,
movie.
kind of.
It's kind of a war movie.
Warring with the beast.
Shift gears
It's a
real
low-key
quick.
war movie.
All right, so yeah,
Low-key war movie.
this week we're talking about, as we've said, A Quiet Place.
Give us the deets, Paul.
So, a little synopsis. In a post-apocalyptic world, a family is forced to live in silence while hiding from monsters with ultra-sensitive hearing.
That is very true.
It is very
There's
true.
some weird ears.
Yeah, the first time they showed me the ears, I was like, what?
Yeah, like 2020 or something or other.
So,
I was
AJ,
like, oh.
did you have to close your eyes at any point during this movie?
I did not.
I know
I was
it's not
solid.
like a scary movie.
I
It's
was
a
good.
very
It's just tense.
tense.
I was good to go.
Got the jump
Okay.
scares.
Well, let's
I didn't even jump. I didn't even jump
Really?
once. No.
Okay, cool.
I think
I was
did
sitting
it.
like this the whole time, but hey.
And
There
there was
was-
like one that got me, I think.
There was one that got me, and it wasn't even a monster. It was like John Krasinski like came around a corner or something and grabbed his daughter. And I was like, ah!
Screw you, Jim.
No doubt. Have you seen the memes and like GIFs that are like they go back and forth between?
Sorry,
the
what
Office
did you say?
and- Oh my gosh, they go back and forth between The Office and Quiet Place.
Yes, I have. Because they do. Have you seen the trailer that's cut like Moses?
yes,
Yeah.
And he runs across the field.
Yes.
So good. I felt bad for John Krasinski because it was like, you did such a great job in this movie and you wrote such a
killed
beautiful
it.
movie, and then he just gets roasted online for all the office
Dude, yeah,
stuff.
he can't get away
But
from the
yeah,
office.
he kind of had to expect that.
But anyway, back to the deets.
Yeah.
It came out in 2018, which I didn't realize it was that. They just came out last year.
Yeah.
Actors John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I did not look up the children because
And they're
Who
like
cares?
legit married, right?
they're
Yeah.
the children. What?
I said legit married.
I know, I was making a joke. Yes, John
Come
Krasinski
on.
and Emily Blunt
And they
are
have
married.
they have a deaf daughter
Really
in real life.
interesting. I
Wow.
did not know that.
I looked it up.
That was
one of their
a-
daughters is deaf.
Good for them.
Well,
That's why they knew sign language.
That's why they actually
That's
knew
why
sign. They
they-
knew sign language before the movie.
I'm
Huh.
sorry, I don't know like sign language.
I did a bunch of research.
I know a few, but like, thank you.
yeah,
Like,
so
I knew
they-
thank you.
So they already knew sign language for the movie.
That's actually
then
really cool. I
The girl-
wondered that.
The girl who played the deaf girl was actually deaf,
Okay,
and then the brothers were just actors, and they just
we're
learned
just
sign
brothers.
language.
Okay.
Stupid brothers.
Yeah, they just learned sign language.
That's cool.
Huh.
I didn't know that. Fun fact.
Because they were really good at it. Like they were.
They
like,
were, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, director obviously John Krasinski, who also helped write the screenplay. So earnings for this movie is, some of them weren't completely accurate. They said between like 17 to 20 million for the budget. I just went to 20 million because that makes sense. Earnings were 340 million.
Yeah,
Super solid.
that's a
And
very good.
Yeah,
It said something I saw.
they're making a sequel.
Yeah.
They are making a sequel. Little thunder in the background, if you can hear that.
I think they just finished shooting the second one. Maybe.
Really?
I think they did, because I think
Yeah.
I follow him on Twitter, and I think I saw like that they just wrapped that.
Yeah.
is it the same family?
I would assume, but I,
thought
don't
it was
know.
gonna be like the Walking Dead, like spin-off series where it's like the same storyline but like a different family
different-
or a different location.
Huh.
Like it's
Well-
the same story but it's a different family in another part of the country. That's what I thought it would be.
We
I have
should-
no clue.
wildly speculate later.
Yeah,
And
I'll
then
definitely watch the sequel though.
Oh yeah, ratings were IMDb was 7.5.
Solid.
Rotten Tomatoes was a 95.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Nice.
I did not know that.
It's high.
Dang.
And Metacritic was an 82. So
Solid.
like
So IMDb
is the lowest.
That's
Shoot, dude.
that's weird.
That is weird.
Which yeah,
95.
Good for you,
No,
Rotten Tomatoes.
Really
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
high. Dang.
I was surprised with Metacritic being so high.
80.
That 82.
Yeah, that's solid.
So yeah. All right. Well,
Solid.
let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. So the idea / premise of the movie, for me, I gave it a 10 out of 10. I thought the idea for this movie was really, really cool and really, really well executed. You knew immediately what was happening without really saying anything. Obviously, no one really
Literally.
talks in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the little kid dying at the beginning was a great setup because that set the stakes for the movie. It also gave you a glimpse at the villain, and then it obviously kind
Well,
of
it gave you a
created-
reason for the events that happen in the rest
and
of the
it,
movie.
and it
Yeah.
set up the rest of the movie, literally. Yeah, so
it was a great setup.
the first 15 minutes of this movie were awesome.
dude.
The idea is genius, which I was reading an article, I just kind of mentioned this, but he actually has like a deaf daughter in real life, and so I think part of the reason he wanted to write this movie was kind of to bring attention to that.
Huh.
Not for him personally, but for like deaf, I guess, people in general.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like a really, really cool way to spin the movie that direction. Because have you guys seen Bird Box, or you guys at least know about Bird
I
Box?
know.
I'm aware.
It's the same. It's the same-ish movie. The
But
only
you
difference-
can't see.
You can't see.
Well, you like you have to cover
You
your eyes or something or other.
Mhm, Yeah. So it's almost the same movie.
God, yeah, that opening
But,
scene
yeah,
sucked.
dude.
Oh,
With the
Or
rocket,
not like
the
sucked
rocket,
movie wise,
the
but
rocket
man.
ship.
Yeah. And like the moment I was like, when she handed him that rocket, and I was like,
Yeah. Well,
no!
she blamed herself for the rest of the movie, and then obviously the dad blamed himself the rest of the movie
God,
too.
he starts like running at him and stuff.
And he's like looking in the bushes and like
just
no.
gut wrenching in the
Yeah,
first,
brutal.
whatever,
Brutal.
10 minutes. Whatever.
Yeah,
So I gave that section a 10 out of 10. What'd you guys give it?
I gave it a 10 as well. That's pretty
Agreed.
dang good.
10.
Yeah.
So it's, to me, it was one of the most original, clever, brilliant
Totally.
movie ideas, set up, well executed all the way around I've seen in a long time.
Well, and to just make it instant.
Instant.
Like yes, you probably gathered it from the trailers and stuff like that if you saw it when it first came out. But like at the same time, to immediately walk in and it'd be dead quiet. They're
Well,
going to that pharmacy
they're-
trying to
they're
get
barefoot.
supplies.
The sand's on the ground.
Yep.
They're all being quiet. They're all using sign language. The one
Yeah.
kid's sick. The one girl's deaf. They show her earpiece like instantly.
Yeah.
Whenever she's on screen, it's completely quiet.
Yep.
Like they did a lot of those types of things really subtly early on.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
just brilliant.
That just shows the detail in this movie is just
no doubt.
incredible. Like that was my favorite thing was the sand, just like
Oh yeah.
It was
And yeah,
good.
things you don't think about that make a crap ton of noise.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other thing that I really appreciated was how the floor was painted in the
Yeah.
spots that it
Yeah.
wouldn't creak.
Super cool.
And I was like, oh
well, and
my
they're
gosh.
rolling dice on a blanket so it doesn't make noise.
Yeah, and
They're
their
using,
pieces
they're
are
using
felt.
paper or felt or whatever
Yeah.
that was. Yeah.
I was like super smart.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. I loved the setup. I loved the idea. I thought it was genius. And if you want to make a friggin' like scary, creepy, edgy movie, how better to do it than have everything be completely quiet the
Quiet,
whole time?
yeah.
And every single noise you hear is like,
which we'll get more into that in
no doubt,
attention.
no doubt. But like genius movie,
Dude.
like just
Oh,
genius
yeah.
idea. I really, I mean, I loved the idea for this movie.
Totally.
I'm glad we all agree on that one. Character. For me, character was hard because
4 characters.
there's 4 characters. You never
Yeah.
know their names.
So
Do
that
you
was
ever know their names?
no.
You never hear
But
their
I
names.
looked it up afterwards, and they do all have names on IMDb.
Really?
So, but yeah, in the entire
They never
movie,
call
they're
each other
never
by their name.
said.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say it as mom, dad, daughter,
sister,
and son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
so-
love that though. Not
I
knowing
did
their
too.
names
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff
I thought it
because
was great.
they just throw you into the middle of these people's lives. There's
Yeah.
no
And you
no
don't-
real setup.
Nope.
Man,
And you just don't care about those little details.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Well, and so the sister
certain details.
can't
I do,
talk
which we'll get
because
into.
she's deaf and she can't really hear, and so whenever
Well.
the brother dies, she's like just kind of sitting there like walking,
Yeah.
and she sees her dad running toward her, and she starts to realize what's happening,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh my gosh, like how bad does she
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
feel? And so then that obviously plays a huge part in the plot is her like feeling that guilt. But to me, John Krasinski carried the movie. He was by far my favorite
Yeah.
character.
like the stern dad. Well, I mean, you kind of have to be.
Loved his character.
Yeah, and see that was the thing is you just have to like
To me, he was almost
To
like
do that stuff.
he was almost like Rick, but not like a jerk. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like he was like a leader. He was stern. He was protective.
Yeah.
But he was also like very sensitive and caring and gentle at the same time.
Well, yeah, you see that
And
when they go to the
considerate.
river.
He was very considerate. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
protect everyone and give everyone, like their kind of their space, but also, yeah, he goes to the river and just allows his son to kind of feel safe. He always like wants to do what's best for his family. So I thought that was awesome. I absolutely loved his character. What do you guys think?
So for me, I also gave this section a 10 out of 10 because, and I think it was because, again, it was so simple that, so there were only 4 characters and they all developed greatly.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at the son, he starts off being super scared,
Yeah.
and then he develops into being a strong,
He ends up
a
protecting his
stronger,
sister.
Yeah.
protecting his sister.
Yeah.
The sister,
She's
kind of hates her dad there for a while and then realizes he's doing it all out of love. He doesn't hate her for quote unquote killing her littlest brother.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it that way, the mom just becomes the like mama bear to her cubs. And then John Krasinski for sure like
I loved it.
is just a river of emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
the
so
entire
good.
time. No.
So
I give this
yeah.
section a 9. I think, I of course I love John Krasinski's character, but for some reason I like. Obviously, a 9 is extremely high, but like I'm not trying to downplay anything.
No, yeah.
But like I docked a point for the other characters just for
I gave it an 8.
yeah.
I think John Krasinski was amazing. Like amazing. He was awesome performance wise, but even as a character I thought he was so well rounded.
oh yeah.
For me, the daughter was way more interesting than anybody else in the movie. Because everyone in that movie is limited, obviously, by not being able to speak. But she is like still alienated
Yeah.
in a totally different way. Even in that really small environment with a family who already knows that she's that way and trying to like, do things to help her and whatever. And her dad's like trying to make that earpiece for her.
Oh my gosh, yeah, the
Yeah.
whole
And that
time.
ends
God,
up-
that's
the
also
cochlear
heartbreaking.
implant.
Yeah, the
Jesus.
cochlear, yeah. And so to me, she was interesting. The wife character,
I don't think Emily Blunt did as much for me.
I thought Emily Blunt did a great job performing as far as acting, because like that scene, holy crap. But to me, as a character, I don't know. She didn't do it for me. Like, she didn't really have much to do or much to say.
Okay, so I think her character was solid.
Like, right.
But I don't think she was anything like spectacular, anything like bad. And so, I mean, I docked at 1 point.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Right.
And to me,
You docked at 2 points.
her character was a plot point to me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Which I think if they do
gotcha.
the second movie, she's obviously going to be like
no
the main
doubt. If
character.
she's actually in it again, then she'll be the lead. I don't know. For me, she was just kind of there. And then obviously, like, she was the plot point in the movie.
Well, she was pregnant the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, that was...
So, Callie and I are watching it together. And the first scene happens, obviously, where the kid dies. And she's like, man, you know what would suck really bad? Is to have a baby in this world. And I'm like, well, I know what's going to happen. I'm not going to say anything to you. 5 minutes later, it, like, zooms in on her belly. And my wife's like, no. She like literally pauses the movie. She's like, I'm getting popcorn. And, like, leaves the room and come back, and she literally sits there like this. The whole rest of the movie's like just waiting for something to happen. Because having a baby is like a really traumatic experience anyway. And then you do that in that environment, like holy crap.
The way they do it.
And then the nail, I don't want to get into that.
We'll get to the plot.
Yeah, the plot.
And then, so for me, she kind of knocked it down a point. I mean, like Luke said, she was a solid character, but to me, she was more useful for plot than she was for really character.
Yeah,
and
totally agree.
The little brother, you said that he developed well. Totally agree. I loved watching him kind of start out as kind of cowardly, and then watched his dad.
Yep.
And his dad kind of showed him how to be brave and how to protect his family, and that kind of led him toward... He lit the fireworks, and he found his sister and saved his sister from like the I guess those were kernels of corn. I don't know what.
It's grain.
Yeah,
it's a grain elevator, and it totally like
it sucks it down.
Which that scene was
cool,
terrifying. I was like, oh my
cool.
gosh.
Yeah, that was super cool. So we get to see that. So I thought that was cool for him. But yeah, I knocked it down 2 points. It's probably too much, but like I said, Luke, I agree with Luke.
Still, we're all high scores on it.
And 8 is pretty solid.
We keep acting like 8's low.
Yeah. 8 is really good. I was tempted to get this movie a 50. I really was tempted to get this movie a 50. But I had to knock it somewhere. So, to me, I gave it an 8.
You don't have to knock it.
Well, that's true. I could have gone for a 50. I didn't even give Interstellar a 50, so okay, come on.
Whoa, guys. Didn't give a Chris Nolan movie a 50, so no movie deserves a 50.
Couldn't give it a 50. Okay, plot. For me, plot was the weakest point in the movie because it was overly simple, and I'm not going to say nothing really happened, but like, what was the plot? Was it her having the baby? Or was it just
the plot was just them surviving?
Yes.
So to me, that's
them being in that world.
Yeah. So to me, I gave plot a 7.
Okay.
And I gave plot a 7 because, like I said, there wasn't really a plot, but the things that this movie did extremely well, I obviously like benefited those other areas. So like conflict, tension, urgency, idea and premise, and character. Like I gave in the cinematic elements.
Yeah.
So to me, I kind of knocked it down in plot, and that was kind of the one area I targeted.
Yeah.
For kind of taking some points away, because there really wasn't a plot in the movie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yeah.
You guys agree? Disagree? What do you guys think?
I gave it an 8. This probably is my lowest scored section. I gave it an 8 because, so for me, there is elements in this whole movie, like great plot points. Like, I love him making the earpiece for, like, I'm like, cool. Golly, that's just like a freaking like awesome dad thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and that being the device that makes them realize how to hurt them.
That ended up being really important in the end. Yeah.
I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah,
the frequency.
Yeah. And like
well, and her even using it with the microphone.
Yeah, with the microphone and like amplifying it and things like that. So,
how did she not figure that out earlier?
Well, she doesn't know.
It happens twice before.
She has no idea why it's happening.
But all she can feel is it hurting her.
Yeah, because the first time it happened, the thing was behind her.
She couldn't see it.
So she didn't hear it, obviously, in the cornfield.
Yeah.
And the other time, they're under the door.
It was in
the grain elevator, where it's like on top of her. And I would assume she kind of figured it out a little bit.
And then the third time she figures it out.
And then the third time she like actually like sees it happen. So she's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like the ending, how it was pretty implied what happened. Like, it didn't have to actually show anything.
I want to talk about that later.
Okay.
So yeah,
I liked that.
Well,
part.
All right. So I'll finish my
Yeah.
stuff, then we'll get into some deep stuff about that. But no, the plot points in this movie, like obviously the use, like we talked about this a little bit, idea premise, but the details in it, so how that affected things. I think her. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into this scene.
Yeah,
so her giving birth was excruciating for me.
no kidding.
Brutal. Okay, I've had 2 kids, and I've witnessed 2 births, and this was so traumatic for me and for Callie too. We were all just like, no, this is not happening. So then they go to the bathtub, right? And we're like, okay, let's go. Yes, come on, baby. Get it out, let's go. And then it just cuts. We're like, no, what? And then it comes back around and it just shows the bathtub, and I was like, freaking serious? I'm about to just throw my computer.
The way they like flip stuff is so good.
And then her hand like comes up against the door, and I was like, she's freaking dead. She's like leaning against the door, and then she's holding the baby. I was like, what?
Well, and the way they set all this up, they make you. I think. Well, I mean, this goes back to character, but they make you care about those characters so much that in those moments, like that part was traumatic. I was like, oh my gosh,
100% expected the baby to live and the
mom to die. I thought the same thing.
100% thought that was gonna happen.
God, and then like the kids and her, like, so I think her going to the dead brother's like grave site kind of thing, you're like, man, that's like
brutal.
That's so stupid. But then you're like, that's such like like.
Well, she's about to have another baby.
Yes.
And so she's kind of thinking about her children and kind of reflecting on her youngest child. You know, and she even mentions this in the movie that if we can't protect them, like, who are we?
Yeah.
Right? And that's like their identity as parents is like being protectors of their children. And so I kind of feel that a little bit. I mean, it was stupid because she was like by herself.
Well, yeah, but then that's such a kid thing to do. I think a lot of the stuff in this movie makes sense reason-wise.
Yeah.
I really like the scene where they go to the river and then they can actually talk.
The waterfall.
Right.
Because you don't realize how refreshing that is to hear someone talk.
That's the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second time's in the basement.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the only 2 times it happens, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Well. Yes.
A third maybe later.
Third maybe later in the basement also once. Maybe that's the same time. I don't remember. Yeah, it's only like 2 or 3 times.
It's like less than like. It's like not very many.
Yeah, I need to Google how much actual dialogue is in this
probably
movie.
Less than
it's probably
100 words.
That's good. And then the scene where they're walking back from the river and they pass it's the old guy.
The old creepy guy.
Yeah.
What the heck was that?
Okay.
Was he eating that person?
I think he was burying him, right?
He was, yeah. So the way I interpreted it is that him and his wife,
The old lady.
assumed, lived in that house, and she just died of natural causes. And they probably lived there for who knows how long.
They survived. Just like they did, yeah.
And him, because you can imagine, you kind of go crazy.
Yeah, no doubt.
You can't talk. You can't,
doubt. No doubt.
And he sees another person, and he thinks about it, and he's like, I have nothing to live for at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
My wife has died, and so he just is like, F it.
Screw it, and then just yelled. And
and those things that makes those monsters so fast because they're scary because they're so fast.
Literally.
But that's also a foreshadowing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's
the dad
the
yelling.
same way how John Krasinski goes out.
He yells, yeah. See, I like that
and it's
part.
it's a freedom thing. Like I can imagine not being. It's the same thing with going to the waterfall when he like yells.
Yeah.
Like you can't talk, so just to yell would just be so freeing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I
that's cool. That's
saw
really cool.
it.
I didn't see it that way.
And the way they check in on each other, like the families across like the area, how they light the fire on top of that's really cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like the movie being everything being already established in a way.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that earlier. I meant to talk about that earlier. I love that you brought that up. Like, there's no sitting down and explaining what happened. Part of me was like, freaking show me the alien invasion, show me the news clips, show me everything. I want to see it all. And then part of me was like, I'm so glad they didn't, and it started on day 80 whatever and went to day 400 whatever, and like it doesn't even matter. Like,
Yep.
I love that about it.
Because you can pretty much imply like how things.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
It's
at this point,
unnecessary.
everyone's seen so many like
Yeah, no
invasion
doubt.
movies and
No
stuff.
doubt.
You don't need to see it for the 100th time.
No
They're
doubt.
like, these
Yep.
people get it. They either like
Yeah.
came from the center of the earth or they came from space. Like,
No doubt.
Yep.
Came from the cracks under the ocean.
yeah, something like that.
Pacific
It's-
Rim style.
It's I don't know. It's then
Yeah, no,
the-
I like it. I like that part. I like that about the movie.
Mhm.
It's just everything was overly simplified. I agree. I think that was really cool.
Well, I think so. I liked it because of that. Because
Yeah.
I liked the plot because it was just them trying to survive and the difficulties they're going through, like the personal struggles, like him trying to get the right hearing aid for
Yep.
them, going with their son, them having that plot point, like I like
them
the movie
having to soundproof the basement.
yes,
Well, and the crib for the baby with the cover over it.
Yeah.
and
Soundproofing the
painting the floor like you said, and the sand. You can just
Yeah.
pouring the sand out. And, yeah,
so for me that was enough plot to have, or that was enough storyline.
they eat on the leaf.
Yep.
Or whatever those things were. I guess.
Did I already say what I gave it a score? I gave
You
it
got
an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What'd you give?
So I went with my gut and I gave it a 10.
nice. I
100.
appreciate it.
I mean, like,
100%.
and for those of you who've heard many episodes, hopefully before this, I generally hate things that are overly simple.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it about this movie. It's
Yeah.
exactly like you said. Yeah, it's implied. I love the little board that like he's written with like
Yeah.
of like
yeah. The whiteboard.
the whiteboard, and he's like
Then-
trying to figure it out. What is its weakness? It's got armor. It's blind. It can't, and then like confirmed 3 in the area. I was like, this is the only setup I need.
Yeah.
I don't need like in the newspapers and things like that. Like, I never thought there are a few lingering questions that I do have, which we'll get into maybe for meta questions. If you want to get into them now, that's fine. But I feel like that's just fuel for the next movie. It didn't anger me enough to be like, dang it, why didn't they go into this?
Right.
Well, this movie left you. This movie left you wanting more.
It did.
It was like, man, I want like. So I think it was perfect length.
Agreed.
Like this was it was a
doubt.
very solid, like all around put together, like packaged movie.
Yes.
Very solid. But at the end, you're like, man, I'd love like a second movie.
Yeah.
Like I think it'd be fine if it didn't have one. I mean, it's confirmed that it is.
Right.
I think it'd be totally fine. Like if they left it, everyone would be like, that would be like one of the best movies to not get like a sequel or something.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I don't know. I think that's. I haven't felt that way with the movie. Like just like I'm like, give me more.
Yeah.
Like in a long time.
This was your first time, right?
Yeah. I'd never seen this
second
movie.
time?
Second time for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my first time as well. So I was blown away with the simplicity of the movie. Totally agree with what you guys are saying. For me, I don't know. I felt like I had to knock it somewhere, and I just
No,
kind of chose plot.
I understand. Like,
that's
again,
10 out
like,
of 10, 10 out of 10 for all 5 sections was tempting. Don't get me wrong. I almost did that last night when I watched it, but
and that may be why.
it was tempting.
But like, because I did, like, I don't generally immediately score right after a movie to let it simmer.
I do too. Yeah.
But the plot was one section where I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts before I really officially gave it a 10.
yeah.
But honestly, I agree with everything you guys said, but nothing you said made me want to dock
bother.
it.
Right.
It didn't bother me. So for me, dude, I don't know. Seven's probably too low. I should probably be more like an 8 with Luke, but
Well, I mean, we're not judging you
no,
here.
no,
like,
I'm being nitpicky, I think. And personally, like you said, I'm traditionally more of a, I kind of like the multi-plot and all these different things kind of going
Complexity.
together and complexity. And I like a lot of different things happening.
yeah.
And so we watched Joker not that long ago.
Yeah.
We watched a couple Tarantino movies. And so to me, like those kinds of movies, plot-wise, struggle. But where those movies struggle, they make up for it in other areas. So for me, conflict, tension, urgency, I gave it a 12 out of 10. I'm not kidding. I gave it a 10 out of 10. But I would give it a 12 out of 10 if I could. It was, might have been the most invested, never blink hardly ever in the movie I've ever watched.
Oh, yeah.
One single movie I don't think I've ever sat down and literally been that engrossed in a movie before, as far as not wanting to blink, not wanting to pause it, not wanting to look away.
Yeah.
just
Well,
so.
it's like any
so good.
moment, like something could have made a noise, and you,
Oh,
you just
dude.
would have been like, "Oh no!"
I didn't
Literally
want to make
every
noise.
single noise. Yeah, I was like trying not to breathe. Trying
Yeah.
not to, you know.
Like I was watching it,
so good.
and my dog was sitting in my lap, and I was just like, she just was breathing, and I was like, "Can you be quiet, please?"
Okay, so whenever the deaf girl is on screen and it's like completely quiet, you're just like, what's gonna happen? Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen? Because like the white noise is still like kind of sketchy because
Mm-hmm.
it's like really quiet.
Well,
but-
yeah, I mean, yeah, you're just hearing like, and you don't think about it at all. Like you just hear like wind blowing through the trees.
yeah,
and
the
things
ambient
like that.
noise. Yeah,
But then, yeah, when it's her, it's just like,
it's just completely quiet. You're
yeah.
like, and then the thing, like at one scene, she's like dead quiet, just like standing there, and like the thing like walks by.
Yes.
You're just like, are you kidding
Well,
me?
you
Yeah.
don't know what's gonna set off the monster. Like
Yeah,
what
exactly.
sound is gonna do it. Like what
Right.
what level. I think
Exactly.
that makes for such a good movie watching experience.
So
like you
good.
guys both talking about there made me think like that's a freaking experience
It's genius.
Yeah.
that you guys both had with this
genius.
movie.
yeah, dude.
And it's just I don't know, that like think about like I wish I would have seen this in the theaters because I
No
watched
doubt.
like that would have
Agreed.
been crazy.
If we need to do a top 5 sometime of movies we wish we could actually go back in time and like watch it in the
Watch it
theater
for
for the
the
first
That's
time.
a good list.
That
We
would
should
be
do
That
that would
would
be
be a
one
good
of
one.
them for sure. Because
Yeah.
watching it on a laptop just didn't feel like it was doing it justice, even though
Man,
I
and-
still really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I would have peed my pants in the theater though.
if you're sitting there in the dark, it's like. But yeah,
Yes.
I gave it a 10 out of 10. For me, the urgency was a little lacking in certain moments, just because it's
I think the whole entire
But-
ending was just urgency.
forget
And
that,
in-
dude.
well, yeah,
Literally, the
urgency
tension
is
was
the-
like a 17 out of 10, and the urgency is like a 9 out of 10. So to me, it just rounded up and let's go 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
100%. And the conflict was awesome. The external conflict with the aliens, the personal conflict with the daughter and the father and the brother and the daughter and everything. It was awesome.
I mean,
and
could
then
you-
the internal conflict with the dad. He blamed himself. The daughter blamed herself.
Yeah.
Mother's trying to figure out if she like how to do this like family thing with a new baby, and I loved it. I thought it was so good. This
Say,
is
could
such
you
a good-
imagine having a teen? Well, we assume teenage, but roughly teenage daughter and not being able to like
You can't,
yell
You can't talk
Yes,
to her.
right.
You can't really like
The
parent her.
self-control that you have
Yeah.
to have.
Yeah, no doubt.
or like throw things
Yeah.
and
No
stuff
doubt.
like that.
I want to, if it's okay, I'd like to step back to plot real quick. I want to
Yeah.
hear you guys' thoughts on the ending, with how John Krasinski's character dies.
So that's one of my meta questions.
Do you want to save it for the meta question?
We can get into it later. I don't really care if we get into it now.
Let's
or
get into
later.
it later. It's
Yeah,
fine.
let's save that
Okay,
as a meta.
Sweet. So, for me, that's all I have to say about that section. 10 out of 10. Nailed it. Loved it.
all day
Strength
long.
of the movie. The two strengths of the movie to me are the idea, like setup, premise, whatever you want to call it,
Yep.
and then this section as far as just sheer edge of your seat.
Yeah.
Like, Joker was pretty edge of your seat, right? Like, we're sitting there just kind of like, oh my gosh, there's really no telling what's going to happen.
Yeah.
This movie was like one notch even above that for me. So anybody else, any thoughts, comments on that section?
Like you said, if I could give it like a 20 out of 10, like
if I could
would.
give, yeah, no
Oh,
doubt. If I could
dude.
give it a 13 out of 10 to kind of level out my
Yeah,
plot
'cause
score.
I felt the same way watching it. Like,
Oh, so good.
well, I mean, it's the whole thing in the movies. They have to be quiet, and you're just sitting there like you're waiting for something to make a noise, and like all of a sudden one of those things just flash by the screen and take
Oh, yeah.
away like one of the kids
So
or
they're
the wife
walking
or
down the
whatever.
bridge, and you can hear the rocket ship in the back. You're like,
God, that just made my heart
You
sink.
didn't, because you'd never seen the monster at that point. You have
No.
no idea what's going to happen. Like, we know he's probably going to die, but we have no clue what
Yeah.
the monster looks like,
Yeah.
where they're going to come from, and then you see Krasinski's face
Well, and just
turn
the
around.
the sheer terror.
And then the
on
daughter
his
turns
face.
around and sees his face, and she's like, and she turns around, and then he looks at the trees, and the tree line, you can see the tree line like moving, and you're like, holy crap, what is about to happen?
Yeah, my
Oh,
heart, man,
dude.
just went sunk.
Oh.
I was like, no.
The
I'm
the nail scene too was
Oh man. So
brutal.
that was the thing, and this might be more of a plot thing that I forgot to mention also, which we may be going back and forth a few times.
That's all right.
The some of the foreshadowing in this movie, some of it was so obvious,
brilliant.
and some of it was so not obvious.
Subtle.
At all.
Brilliant, yeah.
Like the batteries thing,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, dang it, he's a 4-year-old. He's gonna pick up the batteries.
Yep.
And then the nail. Like, yeah, I was like,
They showed the nail like 10 minutes before she stepped on it.
dang it, lady, you don't know to get rid of this. But
Right.
I was just waiting to see who stepped on it at that point. But then, yeah, when she
I knew it was gonna be her.
when she started walking downstairs, I was like, oh
I
no.
knew it
I
was
had to
gonna be
close
her.
my eyes during that scene.
Well, then
I
they
was
like zoomed in. It's
"Oh."
like slow motion. Like you're like, oh.
Well, that's
And I was
another
just like-
self-control thing. She had to like.
Oh,
She had to like and then she dropped the
Well,
thing or
and
whatever.
she's having contractions
Yeah,
and
she's,
trying
like,
to pull her
literally
foot off a nail.
in pain.
She's
Oh.
tough.
Like,
Yeah, dude,
that
she-
character is
He
tough.
was tough. So then the daughter walks downstairs later for like the final like basement scene, and I was like, she's gonna step on it too.
Well, yeah, I was
And then she
like,
did, and I was like, okay.
every time they walked down the stairs, I yelled at the TV, said, "There's a nail there!"
Right there, they see the bloody footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That just added a whole lot more tension and
good
stuff.
stuff.
Dude.
Good stuff. That's
Micro
And
tensions.
Who would have thought that a nail would be a plot point
Right?
in a movie? You know what I mean?
brilliant.
Well, with this movie, you can like do a lot of different things as a plot point. It could have been like a freaking like leaf on the ground that like they
Leaf,
accidentally like
spider.
Or
stepped
the
on it.
lights.
Yeah, the light.
The lights, how they
That
changed.
was cool.
I was
he
like,
flipped the thing.
that's so
the
smart.
red,
From like yellow and like blue and like
and that was his sign.
party
and-
looking lights, and then like to red is danger, and like
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's
Well, and did you see the lights flickering when the monsters came closer?
So that is a thing I have a meta question about too. So let's
It was like Stranger Things esque
yeah
a little bit.
So we can actually. Do you want to do that later or get into
Yeah, we
it?
can do it later.
Okay. So cinematic elements, and then we'll get into these.
Cinematic elements. I gave it a
Questions.
9 out of 10, and I wanted to give it a 10 out of 10. I really did. I said great acting, great writing. Loved some of the stunts. Loved the like sound effects, silent. I love the music when they actually chose to play music. For me, the CGI was the one reason I knocked it, and it wasn't bad. I just felt like, I don't know, it was clearly not like top dollar. I don't know how to say that. And
well, I mean, for a new IP
yeah.
on a original screenplay and like
Right.
such a like
Exactly.
an outlandish kind of like
Exactly.
idea.
low
Right.
budget.
I don't-
movie.
Yeah, and well, they didn't need it. They did a great job
Yeah,
of
no.
like working with it.
And it was Stranger Things-esque again in the sense of they didn't really show you a very clear glimpse of the monster until the very end.
Well, and it looked like a Demogorgon.
And it looked like a Demogorgon. And so that's one of the reasons I knocked it was, I guess Stranger Things came out before this.
Yeah.
It did. It must have, because it's
Yeah.
been around for 3 or 4 years. So for me, I knocked it a point for the CGI Stranger Things kind of link, which it didn't bother me. Like, I still thought it was really cool alien and a really cool
Yeah.
like villain, but I knocked it 1 point for that. So 9 out of 10, still a great score, still a great movie. What do you guys think?
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
That's really low.
Oh, come on, really low.
no, I'm just kidding. What
Um,
reasoning?
So, reasoning wise is for the CGI, yes.
Okay.
So I had no problem with the CGI personally, but like just because like I understand why it wasn't because the budget was $20 million.
Right.
Well, they did a good job of hiding it. Like,
Yeah.
they never really gave you a good glimpse.
So
of
I
the
could have
monster.
definitely gone lower, but I gave it. Hold on, screw it. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Hey.
Hey.
So my biggest thing is the acting in it is like
Oh.
so. John Krasinski's asking like when on the bridge scene where he turned like the sheer terror on his face
Yeah.
and him running to like sit like that was
It's awesome.
that made me feel things, and then like
Yeah.
her in the bathroom scene and like her like I think she was great in all the like pain inducing like struggles that she went the nail the childbirth and like
no
where
doubt.
she finally like screams.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was not awesome for her, but like awesome like
Yeah. Acting
That was
and-
awesome acting, and then obviously the kids did great, but like then I think because it was like again they had to be silent the whole movie, so they had to a lot of it was through their acting. They had to express emotions through gestures, facial expressions,
Yeah.
and all that, and so I think that elevates a lot of the cinematic elements. Because and then like you said, like the writing, the way they flip things on you,
Yeah.
that was great.
Just really well written movie.
The cinematography was good.
Yeah, it's some really
Dude,
cool
yeah,
stuff
some
in
of
there.
the like foreground, background shots.
Yes, yes.
some cool
There's
stuff.
some beautiful stuff. Like
Yeah.
I can't get over the freaking like bridge scene, like the cinematography there, like looking straight on down the bridge and then walking. Like that was so stinking good. Might be my favorite scene in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, crap.
Paul?
Yep. Can you guess?
10.
10 out of 10.
This is the first time I've ever given a movie a 50.
Wow, that's
I
awesome.
cannot believe you gave it a 50.
Dude,
That's crazy.
I really did. I was like you. I was like,
I was tempted. I was
I
very
was like,
tempted.
I love this movie and I never thought I would give a 50 to a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or a John Krasinski movie.
or John
Just
Krasinski.
kidding.
Yeah,
He's made
but
2 really
like,
good movies.
dude, everything you guys said, 100% agree. I do agree that they acted their butt off, and I mean, so the other thing that you didn't really mention, and I was kind of surprised Luke didn't, was with, again, this being a very auditory movie, the sound editing was so perfectly done, in my opinion. As far as, like we've said, when it was in the daughter's perspective, it was definitely quiet.
Yeah.
When it wasn't, it was like you could hear a babbling brook in the background. And even like when at one point he's working in the basement and Emily Blunt comes down and like they listen to music, and the music is like hella loud because it's like it's from their perspective.
They dance with the headphones on.
With headphones on.
Cool.
I was like,
that's a cool scene.
That's another good moment. Yeah.
and
Great
so
moment,
I just like, and everything. And so that was just perfect to me. So
Yep. Solid.
and at that point I was like, okay,
50, man.
I just got to do it. I just got to give
That's
it a
crazy.
50.
Dude, do it, man.
So
I think the highest score I've ever given is like a 47 or a 48.
Yeah.
I can say this movie
Wow.
actually, and I don't know, I may have just kind of did it,
Yeah.
but I mean, it
I like
scored
it. I like
higher
it.
than my number 2 movie of my top
know.
25.
So
I'm
where does
saying.
this fit in your top 25 then, do you think?
Oh man,
Just give us like a range, like top 10, top 5,
It's gotta
top...
be
I would-
top 5.
I would say top 5, man.
Gotta
That's
be.
awesome.
It's
No, it's
is
a
up
great
there. I
movie.
will definitely buy this movie.
It is a great
Definitely,
movie.
I'm gonna force my wife to watch this movie.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. Not that
Um,
scary.
It's really not.
It's
It's
not
not
that
any scare. Well, she also won't watch Signs.
Huh.
Because she's a baby.
It wasn't as...
I would say it's about as tense, more tense.
more
but
tense
I mean,
than
it's
Signs.
not
There's not
any
like...
scarier than
Yeah.
Signs.
That's true.
Another thing that I actually really and didn't notice, and I keep thinking about more and more things, is, and this, I don't know what section this would fall under, but did you notice that whenever the monsters attacked a person, it went after their head
Yeah.
because that's where the sound's coming from?
Right.
And just that that choice as far as writing, directing, whatever, to make it, because every time it went after the boy, it jumped over him and got his head, and like same with John Krasinski at the end, it chopped his head off. And I was like, it's so auditory, and
Well, it all comes back down to the details, like we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier. Like that's the level of detail in this movie is insane, and I mean it has to be.
yeah.
But no,
And I don't know if those are
was
John
great.
Krasinski decisions, and if it
Well, he's
is,
the director, yeah, so-
that's a big
he's the director.
He should be directing more movies if this is the decisions he's making.
Right.
in my
He did a
opinion.
great job. I think he was a really huge part of the project. Obviously, like he was one of the writers. I think he was the director.
Well, he was
for
out
sure.
scouting locations for the second movie, so I mean, huge
I
part.
think this
Yeah.
is a really near and dear to his heart
Well,
kind
see-
of project because of his daughter
Yeah.
and because of the success of the movie, but also because of the quality of the movie. Like
Yeah.
I think he knows that he's got a really good product, and I think he's
Yeah.
gonna keep.
And that does make me like it more that he had a daughter who's also deaf, and
Yeah.
I think that was really cool.
and then it just made it to where it probably made it really easy for him to be like, oh yeah, like no, this, and this, like, and the producers were like, that's genius.
Yeah.
So
So
For me, it's a 44 out of 50.
I gave it a 45.
45.
Cool.
50,
I
50,
also
50.
gave it a 50.
I can't believe I'm the lowest, man. That's crazy. For me, gosh, man, 44 feels low. 44 is a really good score. Like, just put in perspective. Last week was a 38. Week before that was 38. Week before that was 39. I mean,
Yeah, you don't
44 is
score
a really good score for me.
I don't think since I've come on, you've scored a movie in the 40s.
44 is super solid. To put that in perspective, like,
It's
Fury was like a 41 or 42. Interstellar is like a 47 or 48. So,
Yeah.
like, this is a really, really good movie for me.
Yeah. Like I said, I never would have dreamed I would have scored this movie at a 50.
For me, a 50 out of 50 is like The Prestige, Return of the King.
Yeah.
That honestly might be it.
Well, not just.
I don't know.
I remember this when
But-
this was out in theaters. People just could not stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was a
Dude.
very big like.
Yeah. It's a great movie.
I remember it being marketed, and everyone's just like, "Oh man, you have to go see A Quiet Place,"
Yeah.
which obviously I didn't because I watched it at home. But
Well, and again, like it really makes me mad that I'm not into scary movies. That I was like, I really wish I would have seen this in theaters.
Because there's like legit good ones, and it's cool because it's a whole another genre. You can.
Is this a horror movie? Because to
It
me, it
is
doesn't feel like.
classified
Doesn't feel like one.
by Hollywood as a horror movie.
Yeah,
See, to
I'd
me, it
say
doesn't
more.
feel
It's like
like
a thriller, like a horror thriller,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah,
Because
I agree.
I went into it expecting a horror movie. I was like, that's not a horror movie. At least to me,
it
didn't
has
feel like
elements of it.
one. Yeah, for sure. But like, so does Signs, and so does
Yeah,
Right.
Nightcrawler and Joker. I mean, you could make anything a horror movie, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that a lot of people have the stigma of horror movies either being like the paranormal activity movies and like
super-
ghost movies
Yeah.
or like slashers.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is kind of more of a niche horror movie. You know what I'm saying?
Thriller, jumpy,
Thriller,
edgy movie.
yeah. Jump scares here and there.
Okay.
But,
Top 25.
yeah.
It's in mine. Yeah, so I'd seen this movie. I think before we did our top 25. I don't think it was in mine,
Originally, it wasn't, but now it is.
but now it is. Like, for some reason, like when I made the list, I was like, I forgot about it, and now we sit down and talk about it. And whenever I was sitting down like writing my notes, I was like, dang, this was a good stinking movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's in the 17, 18 to 25 range
Yeah,
for me. 15 to 25, somewhere up in there for
Yeah.
me.
I could literally go out and watch it again.
Put it in your top 5, top 3.
Yeah. I definitely top 10, if not more like number 5 or number 4.
yeah, that makes
awesome.
sense. Yeah,
Did you see the end coming?
What do you mean by the end?
So,
like
2 things really. John Krasinski
I
sacrificing himself for his family,
yeah.
and or the daughter's hearing aid, cochlear being the like
The weapon.
the weapon that
yeah.
the like the kryptonite people use to defeat to defeat the aliens. What did you see either of those things coming? Were you surprised by both of them? What do you think?
So let's do the John Krasinski first.
Okay.
I figured one of the 4 of them was going to die.
Had to be.
I did not. Honestly, I saw every other person dying other than John Krasinski.
That's how I felt.
Like, I could have seen the son, the daughter, or the mom.
Well, he was so like
Or all 3 of
integral
them.
to the story
Yeah.
that it didn't feel like he's safe. But
Well, I knew there was a sequel coming out, so I was like, yeah, he's fine. Like I legit was like, yeah, he'll be in the next one.
kidding.
Yeah.
And then he
but
died. I was like, what?
I did
I liked
not-
it though. I really did like it. I was shocked by it. And
Yeah.
whenever he like walked away and got like slashed in the stomach,
Yeah.
I was like, dang it, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna friggin' be mad. But I thought it was a great way to go out.
Yeah.
Him yelling was a callback to earlier in the movie when
Yeah.
he yelled, the old man yelled, but also when he yelled at the waterfall.
God, the emotion on his face when
He
he does
does
it.
it.
And
was-
again, it was just like
It was
freeing
liberating, yeah.
and he just
yeah.
giving it
Just
all
letting
he
it
had.
out.
And he says, I love you to the daughter. And he says, I've
Yeah.
always loved you. And that's like a really touching
Mm-hmm.
scene because she obviously doesn't feel that way or
Yeah.
hasn't felt
And
that.
the boy told
And the
him
boy
that he
told him.
needed to tell her that he, you know.
Yeah. Love that. So I love that scene. I
Yeah.
never saw that coming. Did you see that coming?
I did
first
not
time.
see it coming. I
Obviously
do
the
have a
second
question kind of going off of this though.
Yeah.
Do you think it was necessary for him to sacrifice himself? Like, could he have done something else?
Could he have like fought the thing off?
Not fought it, but may thrown something.
rock
Maybe
away.
it makes a noise over there.
Yeah,
Like, I'm just
totally.
I don't think so.
I mean, he could have thrown.
because that was
something.
the only question I walked away from this movie is could he have done something else, or like because is there a different way he could have done it?
I mean,
Or
you
that
could have.
coulda-
He could have thrown a rock or the axe or whatever, but that would have been
I-
lame. That would have been lame. I think him dying was extremely moving and emotionally satisfying for him, for the daughter, and for the son's character. And then on the wife watching it on the video
the
screen.
screens.
Mhm.
Yeah.
was kind of an
Yeah.
in the moment thing, like
Yeah.
because if
He's
he would have
not
thrown
gonna
something,
think about throwing
you're not
something in that
sure
moment.
if that's going to make enough noise for
Yeah,
it to leave,
and
and like
he's-
at that moment, the thing was
Well,
almost going to get his
It's
kids.
kind of like like in The
Exactly.
Walking Dead and the zombies. If they're already on you,
Mhm.
can't really distract them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, well,
Right.
you're just kind of toast at that point.
And I think that was the point of, even if he'd have thrown
It
something,
wouldn't have mattered.
there was no guarantee that it was going to
Make a
leave
noise,
his
make
kids.
enough noise.
And it would
Yeah.
have killed his
But
kids
he,
anyway.
he said he knew in his mind, he said, if I can get it to come after me,
Yeah.
that means the kids can get away.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And he was already injured. Whether he would have died from that wound or not, I don't know. But to me, like Paul said, I think it made the most sense plot-wise, and I think it was the best decision for his character, because it really did wrap his character up.
Yeah. I did not see it coming, though. I thought he was too integral to the
I did
story.
too,
He
man.
was like-
I was shocked when he died.
Yeah.
So okay, the next
other
part,
one is the
with the ear thing, the implant.
I didn't see that coming either.
Whenever he handed her the new one, I don't know if I knew it was gonna be. I didn't know it was gonna be like the weapon to defeat the aliens.
We knew it was significant
but
somehow.
I knew it was gonna be important, and I kept waiting, and I kept trying to theorize and guess. And Callie and I were watching it, and we were kind of talking out loud because we didn't really want to just sit there in silence. And so we were kind of talking a little bit, and we kept kind of throwing out theories. And one of them was like, it's gonna be like that's how it's gonna end or whatever. And I was like, nah, that's stupid. And she was totally right. Which she actually called John Krasinski dying too, and I was like, friggin' dang it. She got 2 out of 2. That's why I'm asking you guys this, because I didn't see either of those things coming, and she predicted both of them.
I didn't see it coming.
So
I loved it. I loved the tie-in,
Yeah.
and how it kind of worked itself out. I thought that was
well,
super
it makes
cool.
sense, right?
Yeah,
It
for
does.
sure,
Like,
100%.
That's the thing with this movie. Like, things make sense.
like a lot of other Alien or
Well, they're
whatever
really-
movies, the way they defeat them, sometimes you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense, like
Yeah.
logically.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense because it's an alien movie. But like
Yeah.
another one for me that's similar is War of the Worlds and how the
Yeah.
aliens get killed by germs.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you would think a super hearing monster would get hurt by high frequency noises.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so the I did not see that being the thing until it happened. When it first walked up behind her, and because of whatever deal is with the monsters that give off like an electrical frequency,
Yeah.
because that's it freaked out the sensor or whatever. And then when that happened, I was like, oh, there's your key right there.
Right.
Somebody just has to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
I pretty early on, I figured that the daughter was the key, but I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just because of the way it was, like, the story seemed to be focusing on her,
Yeah.
I just figured that the daughter would be the key to it all.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for him to kill one and like dissect it like they do in every alien
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
I kept waiting for that to happen. I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because they kind of showed you how the ear thing
Yeah.
worked anyway. Just whatever they showed.
Which I actually thought was really
the
cool.
close-up scenes.
Like, when it would, like, open its
Zoom
ear
in.
more, and I was like,
So yeah, so the closer the alien is, the smaller sounds it like attracts it.
so,
The farther away it is, only the louder sounds attract it. That's the way I understood it,
sort of.
kind of.
Yeah. So, I
In
mean,
general.
it has better hearing even when its ears are, because if you noticed, like, it had like a armor around its head, and
Yeah.
so it like had to open its ears. So, but yeah, that would be like how it would, like when one of the times it opened its ears, it could hear the egg timer ticking, and it was like, because it heard something but it wasn't sure, and then it like opened its ear
Yeah.
the rest of the way.
But if it was far away from the house,
it probably wouldn't have heard those.
the ticking. It would have heard the.
Yeah, but I mean, they obviously could hear stuff from pretty far away, because like when
Yeah.
she dropped the picture or whatever, like that brought them in.
Mm-hmm.
So the hearing thing is kind of one of the questions that is unanswered.
Yeah.
To me,
So-
that was, but they never show up for a small noise from a distance. Whenever they're already kind of in the house and kind of
Yeah.
on their property, small noises bring them closer.
Yeah,
But like the rocket ship is relatively loud noise in a
Well, yeah.
relatively open area.
true.
Her dropping the bowl thing or picture frame or whatever, pretty loud noise.
It's also a different noise too, because they're used to noises like the stream or the waterfall
Right.
or
Or
whatever.
Or the swing. They highlighted
Yeah.
the swing that kind of made that creaky noise.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Interesting
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. The scariest scene for you, or the scene where you jumped, or whatever, however you want to define that.
the scene where I jumped, no kidding, was when, you know how at one point, and this didn't really make sense to me, and this is actually a meta question I'm going to add, is you know how the daughter was trying to go into the basement?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then he grabs her and tells her not to. That made me jump.
Really?
Because I was not expecting a monster or anything at that point.
Yeah.
And then when he grabbed her and he's like, ah, no. Or well, he didn't say no, but I was just like, ah.
No,
but
he got her.
other than that, like,
was it.
I didn't have like an actual like jump.
No.
I had moments where I was like,
Mine was when he grabbed her. Yeah. That's when I jumped too.
because I was not expecting it at all.
Huh.
But I mean, I had many other moments where like it just foreshadowed it enough, like when the kid sees the monster up on the right before John Krasinski dies, I was like, oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, when the dude in the forest was
When that
like
dude
getting ready to
yelled,
scream,
to me,
I was
that
like,
was
crap.
That was the scariest moment for me in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was tense.
Whenever that dude screamed, I was like,
Well,
dang it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what an idiot.
There's a lot of scenes in there that made you feel things.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
That one to me was the one that got me the most. Because the bridge scene was more emotional than scary.
Golly, that's
Yeah.
emotional.
And it was scary too, don't get me wrong. But yeah, the forest, dude, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
dang.
That guy was
Dude.
creepy.
Yeah, they picked the perfect old guy.
He was weird looking. Yeah, that was weird and bizarre, but I did like it because it was kind of the callback at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the meta questions I got. Paul, what you got?
Hold on 1 second. I'm typing one before I forget it.
Yeah, I legit thought he was a cannibal. I don't know why.
Huh.
Was he bloody?
No.
Maybe he was bloody.
Well,
Maybe the wife was bloody.
He,
I thought there was
he
blood
was standing
somewhere.
over.
I thought there
her
was blood
body.
over there
Yeah.
somewhere, and he was standing
maybe.
over her body, and I thought he was a cannibal. I don't know why.
I
In my
didn't
mind,
think-
I was like,
yeah.
she just ate that dude. That's what I thought. That's
Him
what, and I was
screaming
like, that's why
wasn't-
John Krasinski, because they looked at each other and
Yeah.
they just like sat there, and I was like, is he gonna try to eat him?
I
Like,
thought the guy
literally
was gonna like
what
try
is
and
gonna
mug
happen?
him, or like
That's
it was
what I
like
thought.
a
Yeah, I think
zombie
that's what
thing.
they were
That's what I
more
thought
worried
was gonna
about.
happen. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I thought I was gonna shoot him and mug him and eat him. I don't know.
Like some zombie world apocalypse kind of like
Yeah.
Walking
Right.
Dead. Like you can't
Yeah.
trust another human or
That's what I
something.
thought was
Which
gonna
obviously
happen.
they had a community if like they're all checking in on each other. And
Yeah,
Okay, that's one of my questions. Is when the first scene of the like he goes up in the grain mill and he lights a fire and he sees a bunch of fires other places. Are those other families that have survived? Do you think?
Yeah, it's just I think it's just them notifying that they're still there.
it's the checking in at night. That's what I understood it as
Yeah.
was, hey,
Okay.
we're still alive, we're still good to go.
Okay.
And if there wasn't a fire at one particular location, that would be kind of a sign of, hey, we need to go check on that.
There's
thing.
trouble or something. Yeah, which I thought was awesome. I loved
Yes.
the whole like camaraderie thing.
I thought it was cool without, like, we never actually met anyone else.
Right.
Like, I kept waiting for them to, like, go into town and, like, say, hey, Bill, how's it going?
Sign
But
language to each other.
Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen because that would have been kind of dumb. But,
Yeah.
but I think it would be cool for the sequel to be about the
A different
exact
family.
same, like, valley, but,
Okay.
like, that family over there. And you could even have it take place, like, directly after.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
they don't see that fire
They
light
don't
or
see
whatever.
the fire that night, and they're like, "Oh shoot!"
Or they hear it starts
see-
with them outside and they hear John Krasinski's yell.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. I
Ooh.
think that'd be a great.
See,
opening.
and that's my other question. What do you think the second one's going to be about?
to me, Emily Blunt's character and the children. I don't think they need to be like the main characters in the movie. I think you kind of go a different route, and they kind of have like a cameo.
I think it's fine if they were. I don't think
It wouldn't
it's
bother
it's
me.
not a it wouldn't bother me, but I'd like for it to focus on another family, and then I think
Literally
Us.
make the exact same movie, pretty much,
which they could
with
do.
a different family, and don't have a pregnant lady in it. Have it be a, I don't know, dog
Someone
or
with
something.
Tourette's, like
No, not Tourette. I don't know.
Something.
that would be a crazy situation.
I don't know.
it'd be crazy.
I don't know how you do it.
I'm just throwing it stuff out there,
Because
but
the pregnancy thing to me is like up here.
Yeah.
Nothing else can really.
Dude, yeah. No, I agree.
I'm not gonna
yeah,
put it
what's
past
the
them.
second movie gonna be about? Like, I could see it going two ways. They're starting like 2 to 3 years later from this movie.
Okay.
Like they're in it. They've
Day 9.
Emily Blunt's shared the information that this frequency thing is the key to like their survival, which is also another thing because like some people are like, oh, why didn't they figure that earlier? I'm like, if you want to test it, you don't know. Like, is that thing gonna draw them in,
right.
or kill him.
or is it gonna like you?
Yeah.
So you don't know.
Yeah.
You're either going to commit suicide or kill yourself doing this, or obviously no one wants to try and see. But
I am surprised that no one like set up a really loud something
like
somewhere.
a siren or something.
Yeah.
But then you got to think, like, how would you set that off? Like, it'd have to be remote controlled.
Like the tornado sirens? I don't
Yeah,
know.
how do you...
It'd have to be remote, but
Yeah,
do they
that's
have
true.
that kind of technology in this world, this current environment to be able to do
a year
that?
and a half later, probably.
Because if
not.
you go and set it off manually, then obviously you have to get away quick, and then you're running, you're making noise.
Yeah.
And then, so I mean, there's a lot of variables into this. You got to think, what would
the
make
fireworks
noise?
were genius. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot. That was really cool.
But yeah, see, that was the crap hit the fan.
The fireworks.
Yeah.
This is like last resort. Just light it.
Yeah.
For me, the sequel. The only thing I hope doesn't happen is they go meta, and they make it about like the alien invasion and they defeat the mothership, and like I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Well, you don't need that.
You don't.
It's
need
just like how you didn't need any alien backstory in
to
this
me,
movie.
To me, that is the wrong direction. To me, you make the same movie you just made with a different family, with a slightly different situation, or you follow the same family with a baby, and that baby is now the problem, and they're the ones you got to keep in the box and keep them under the soundproof thing, and they're like learning how to walk or talk, or they're a toddler. I don't know, whatever, something like that. Or you can even make it about another family in that same area. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of different things, and obviously it's already been shot. So
Well, it's cool not knowing too. It's like we've had so many Marvel movies recently, Marvel movies like Star Wars movies. You have an idea what's going to happen. This one,
the general plot's already.
You're like, what
understood.
like with this being a new IP. You're like, it's nice not knowing what's happening next.
Yeah,
it's cool.
And we're all gonna have, because my idea is different from what you guys have said.
Okay, what's yours?
So my theory is, if I was doing this, I would literally make this next movie start the moment after she cocked the shotgun, like right into it, and for the first 10 minutes or 15, them, and that makes it kind of a little actiony, but at the same time you could make it really tense. Of like maybe the boy and the baby get like snagged or something, like, so you could make that.
Of them start coming
well, it's her now being a single mother.
And so then after that, they would end up surviving, because the way I saw it in the film or from the camera screen is there were only 2 of the other monsters running towards their house.
Yeah.
So that would be the confirmed 3 in the area. And if they kill those 2, then they're okay for a while.
Yeah.
But then they have to struggle with, well, our father figure, main provider-ish, is here no more. And then they may have to having a baby that is crying and being a baby, because you can't make a baby. That was the one thing that I was like, man, that baby is really quiet.
Pretty chill baby.
But
Kyle said that too. She's like, that's not realistic at all. I was like,
I was like,
depends on your baby.
But so then maybe they do have to go to one of those other farms and be like, hey, let's team up, and then maybe get kind of into it a little bit with the other family. I don't know, but I don't know where that goes from there.
Yeah.
But I would have it be something kind of like that, where it grows a little bit.
Yeah.
Like off of their farm, because again, it's also trashed. A lot of their stuff is ruined. And also, I wouldn't want to stay in the same place that, even if only 3 of them were there that had been discovered.
Yeah.
I'd be like, we got to move.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it'd be really interesting. I forget what season of The Walking Dead it is, but whenever they start trying to actually leave, go find all these different safe havens or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really cool movie of a family, even this family or another family, and they're there's this safe haven place somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get there. The whole movie is kind of about that. And,
And
so
maybe,
they're on the road kind of the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's a lot less safe than
I could see that working.
being in one
them being on
place.
the road kind of thing,
Because in this movie, once they kind of establish their kind of home base and all the different things are painted and everything's really well thought out, you kind of well, that's a pretty safe environment for the most part. Obviously, it kind of gets ruined at the end. But I think taking that away from them into territory that they've never really known before and it's kind of brings up a lot of potential problems they haven't really faced before. I think that could be a really, really intense movie of holy crap, like that just happened.
We're
Holy
not
crap,
within
that
the
just
boundaries of our safe house kind of
we
thing.
don't have any clue what to expect. There could be things walking around every 10 yards. There could be nothing for miles and miles and miles.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be really interesting to kind of see that aspect.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like you said, I'm definitely gonna go see the sequel in the theater because I missed out on the first one.
Yeah.
So. Any other meta questions?
Yeah, I have 3 more.
Let's go for it.
Okay, so this one may be a little easier. Do you think all of them survived the attack of the 2 or whatever remain? Like
At the end of the movie?
do you think they'll be in the next movie? Moreover, do you think that the daughter, the mom, the son, and the baby
I thought it was
survive?
I thought it was implied that they would all survive. Whenever
The-
she cocks the shotgun and she puts the thing on the microphone.
I think that implies it that they do survive, because I think that could take, I don't know. I mean, would that take away from it becoming the next movie? They're like, oh, the son died, and you're like, oh no.
I don't know. This is just a thought provoking question for me. I don't have a correct answer
because
obviously.
now they have the super weapon,
Right.
which is the earpiece.
Yep.
And so,
Or I mean, just high frequency noises. Either,
yeah,
also, you know what
anything. I mean, I think they all do survive. I think it would take away from John Krasinski's character's sacrifice if someone else did die.
I agree with that.
Like that was such
true.
a big death that for someone
agree
else
with
to
that.
die, you'd be like, man, like come on.
That's true.
I think it'd be really cool if they didn't really have the family in the next movie, but like the rumor of like how to defeat the aliens, like it's kind of going around wherever the new characters are at. And they're like, oh, is that real? And they like try it, and then it works out for them or something. I don't know. I think it'd be really cool.
You know what I just thought of too is maybe another person heard it on their radio.
Oh yeah,
Because you know how he was trying to communicate
Yeah.
with that radio? That might be interesting.
that'd be tight.
Yeah.
And like somebody else hears
Yeah.
like the whole
And
thing.
here's
Yeah.
what to do and how it happens.
That might be interesting.
That'd be pretty cool.
Anyway,
Okay, what else
all
you
right.
got?
So we kind of touched on it a little bit. The little grave site on the end of the bridge for the little brother.
Yeah.
That looked to me like the daughter was the only, like she built it and was the only one that knew about it. Because a
kind of
lot
her
of it
little thing.
looked very like it was done by a child. Do
Teenage
you
girl.
agree or disagree?
I think I want to hear your thoughts first. Go ahead.
So I think, like, I don't think she made it. Like I'm sure it could have been a joint effort. Like
Sure.
he makes the cross or whatever, and then she, they put the piece of whatever. But I don't think she made it. I'm sure it was hard for the parents to want to go back and revisit that site.
Yeah.
So
See, that's why I wondered.
yeah,
Because I don't know if
I think
I could have done it as a father.
To me-
couldn't have gone back.
to me, it felt like they had like a funeral-ish thing at that location.
Yeah.
And looked like the cross there.
Yeah.
And then everything else that was there was her.
Mm.
So she was the only person who visited it.
Went back.
And she's the one who laid the toy and the flowers and the whatever else random kid stuff that was there.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like.
I got
Because the other room that they hadn't really changed at all with the rocket ship in it and the kids'
Was-
like actual
yeah.
bedroom, to me, that was more of like where the parents would go
Yeah.
to like mourn. Especially we see the mom actually do that in the movie.
think about how traumatizing that was for
Traumatizing.
for them to see that like happen, like because
No
it was
doubt.
obviously
No
it was that
doubt.
way
Well,
for us.
And he blamed himself, and the daughter blamed herself. And this, I mean, yeah. So to me, that's a great question. I think to me, the daughter went back to that spot because that was the spot that had the meaning and the kind of the emotion attached to it. But for the parents, I think going back to the kid's room kind of was the
Yeah.
Yeah,
that. I did think it was interesting that they lived in their own house. Most apocalyptic movies like that, they're in some totally random environment.
That's true.
At like a stranger's house or in some weird building that happens to be unoccupied.
well, these things are invading, but they're not like actively trying to kill the people. They're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
they're not
just-
like doing.
Yeah, they're not like
They're there, but they're not like actively invading.
yeah,
kind of
they're
thing.
just
Right.
kind of like hunting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, so one last question, and then Ooh, more thunder.
Shoot.
Cool.
So this is again, why didn't he let her go in the basement? Like, why do you think he would have kept her out of the going down to the basement? Because until, like, even when she was, like, at the end, she stood up at the top of the stairs for a second and was like, I'm not supposed to go down there.
Right.
But
she knew
he's
she
also
had,
dead.
She knew she had to.
So, yeah.
Well, she had to because her mom was down there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was the ear thing. He didn't want her to see that because that's
maybe
personal and embarrassing somehow.
Maybe all the information he had on him or something.
All of the research he'd gathered. I don't know. That's a good question.
So, that question...
Maybe that's his
and
quiet place.
The sequel's called A Quieter Place.
The next couple of questions kind of leave it to me, not to me, to think that maybe that's the things that the next movie is going to be about. Because there's that question of why he didn't let her in the basement. The other two more unanswered questions for me, and so we may not have answers at all. Why was the son sick, and what did he have? And what the heck was going on with the electrical fields whenever the monsters would show up? Because that's what set off the girl's implant. Right. The lights got dim.
It kind of flickered.
Whenever they were around, and then when she killed it, all the lights came back on.
Right.
So, like, I don't have answers for them, but like, I wonder if that's some things that the second movie is going to dive into.
The son being sick for me was just a reason for them to be in that pharmacy convenience store at the beginning.
Okay.
There's a reason, yeah.
That to me, that was it.
That was it.
And he just had a head cold or something.
Okay.
Because he wasn't sick.
That was the reason.
Yeah, like
there.
he wasn't sick the rest of the movie.
That was the reason they went to town. To me, that's kind of how I understood it.
Okay. No, that makes sense.
Because his dad's carrying him, isn't he?
When they're crossing the bridge, the dad's carrying him, and I don't remember if he like sits him down or hands him to the mom or whatever.
Which that makes so much sense. Like, I mean, they gave him a reason.
I think that was the reason the family went to town.
Yeah.
And the mom had to go with him because she was like a nurse of some kind, I guess, because she had a lot of like medical know-how.
Seemed like it.
And so to me, she was the one who. That's why she went to town, was because she had to find the pill bottle.
Right.
And so at that point, the mom and the dad were going, and so holy cow,
got some tender up in here.
Just so loud. It'd be really funny if no one else can hear it, but we're all like,
we just sound like idiots.
Like, what the heck? So yeah, for those of you who don't know, there's thunder.
There's a lot of thunder.
It's raining.
In Oklahoma right now. That's funny if no one else can hear it but us. So to me, that was the mom's going for the pills. The dad's going to protect the mom. The son is sick. He might as well come. At that point, the other two kids might as well come too. So the whole family just kind of went to town.
Got it.
That was also a reason, an excuse to introduce kind of the whole family dynamic, and the daughter's deaf and the little son's little, and whatever.
That makes sense.
So that's how I would understand that part.
I like that.
The light thing to me,
I think that's just a setup for the next movie.
That's just an alien thing. Aliens always kind of have some weird connection with like our technology in some weird way, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It just kind of depends. So to me, that was it, and I think what you're saying about the next movie makes sense. That it's like a setup, and
see, maybe I'm just
made it creepy
into it.
I think it made it creepy. Like I think it added to their kind of aura and their mystique of being.
I think it's just that alien element thing, kind of like you're saying. Like if they don't go into that in the next movie, like that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I'm not going to be upset.
It's just like it's just the kind of element of them.
They made that weird noise, that kind of
clicking.
So
to me, their ears and the clicking and the lights, that was all just for effect. That wasn't for any specific reason.
Well, it was kind of like sonar, right?
The clicking was a little bit to communicate and a little bit to kind of sonar,
like echolocation kind of thing.
A little bit, but to me, that was just made it creepy because whenever you heard the clicking, you were like, oh.
But see, at the same time,
the lights are the same thing.
When they did that, I was like, "Oh crap, they're gonna find him immediately," and they didn't. So I was like, maybe it was just to make it an effect.
I think the clicking and the lights were just a way of showing that the aliens are there without showing them on screen.
Yeah, just to make it creepy.
Just to make it creepy, but also to save money because the budget was pretty low and the CGI wasn't great. So instead of showing them on screen all the time, give them 2 or 3 different things that you can show.
So you're saying I'm just overthinking this?
I don't know. Maybe not. And maybe like part of the electricity thing is where they get their strength and power. I have no idea.
It was a lingering
No,
thought
no,
of
that's
mine
a
that I
good
was
that's
like,
a good question.
It's like they're like Godzilla, and they have to have like nuclear whatever to
oh man,
live. They have to have electricity to live.
Godzilla.
Barf.
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Well, cool. Yeah,
That's all you got?
that's all I got.
Yeah,
Nice.
I really like this movie.
Oh, it was
Paul
good.
gave it a friggin' 50.
50. You had a 44 hours of 45. So I mean, we
Solid.
all ranked it pretty high. So that's all what, like probably at 90s for all of us?
You 90,
88, 90,
88.
100. Yeah, shoot. 8.8, 8.9, 10. Dang.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
It was a
Hey,
really good movie.
who recommended this movie?
Yeah, it was a good one, Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
We need to start like actually saying at the beginning whose
recommended-
choice
yeah.
it was. Because you used to go into like movie stores to like rent movies, and people who worked there had like their own shelves. It
Yeah.
was like this person's pick and this person's pick. And
Yeah.
it was kind of their like opinion or whatever.
So yeah, this was a Luke's pick.
was a
Last
Luke's
week's
pick.
was a Paul pick.
The last one I had was
The prison experiment.
yeah,
That was an
a
AJ pick.
while back.
That was definitely an AJ pick.
Hey, that's a great movie. Pulp Fiction was Paul, yeah.
Mhm.
Joker was all three of us kind of picked.
Terminator.
Terminator's Paul.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the next one we're gonna be doing is
Dark Fate.
also yeah, we're just trying to go to a movie every month, and this was the only thing coming out in November that seemed remotely good. Was Terminator Dark Fate, and we're gonna change up a little bit of our format, and rather than doing a top 5 and all that jazz, we're gonna talk briefly about Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
T1, T2.
I want to go see the Ferrari movie.
Ford
That
versus
does
Ferrari.
look
That comes
good
out.
too.
That comes out.
I'm gonna go see The
November.
Lighthouse. I'm gonna try and see The Lighthouse this weekend.
I want to see that also. I've heard that.
And Midway comes out in November.
Yeah, and then I need to see Zombieland
Oh,
too.
Zombieland 2 comes out. Shoot.
So yeah,
Yeah.
quite a few good movies, but
I know it's hard. It's like I want to see them all in one day, but I'm like that's like $50.
It's really expensive.
right.
And then Star Wars month.
Well, I was
baby.
gonna say I've already spent
Let's
$40 on Star Wars
go.
tickets, so
I'm so excited.
I'm pumped for that.
I'm literally gonna like get Disney Plus just so I can watch The Mandalorian. Let's
dude.
go.
Hey, that's in what, like 2 weeks?
I'm gonna say, did you guys see the new
The new
I saw
trailer?
The new trailer. I'm
Yes.
pumped, dude.
It looks
good.
so
I'm
good.
pumped. It looks-
He spoke.
He did.
He spoke.
It looks so good.
God,
Yeah,
the
I
scene where he
think it
walks
just-
out and
it
just blindly shoots
just-
the stormtrooper
it just
or whatever.
Well, did you
looks-
notice the bullet bounced off his armor?
That's the first time like
I was like,
bullets
what
have
the
ever.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah, armor actually works. Yeah,
yeah.
So
it looks so good. Apparently, the estimated budget is $15 million per
an episode.
per episode.
Yes.
Per episode.
It's Star
this
Wars.
movie
you
we
gotta-
just watched was $15 to $20 million for the movie.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is insanity.
Man.
Ugh.
Well, there's a lot of good stuff coming
I'm
up.
pumped,
So,
dude. Star Wars month in December.
Mhm.
Let's go.
But anyway, back to next week. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, next
that was our
week.
Star Wars plug of the week.
Next week, Terminator. So
Yeah.
go out to the movie theater. Get out or go out and get indoors. And see
Go out
Terminator:
and get
Dark Fate.
indoors.
All right. Well, yeah. Is that all we got?
That's all I
I
got.
think
All right.
that's it.
Well, we'll call it on this one. That was episode 24. A Quiet Place. Thanks you guys for listening. We'll catch you next time.